first of all, let's go with the visitors, and they are the Blue Hens of the University of Delaware. And the Matt Slap Subaru starting lineups for the Blue Hens offense. We'll see Chuck Blessing at the tight end spot. He is a senior from Warwick, New Jersey. At left tackle, Chris Kumpon from Binghamton, New York, another senior. The left guard is Lynn Pine. He's a senior from Cary, North Carolina. The center, Brian Cook, a sophomore from New Providence, New Jersey. At right guard is Mike Flanagan. He's from Ambler, Pennsylvania, a junior. The right tackle today will be Chris Nacco, getting his second start. He's from Philadelphia, a sophomore. Now the spread end will be Courtney Batts of Philadelphia, junior, but Eddie Conti of Neptune, New Jersey will also see a lot of action at that same spot. He also is a junior. In the backfield, the halfbacks are John Key of Oakhurst, New Jersey, a senior, and Norm Coleman of Miami, Florida, another senior. The fullback will be Andre Thompson of Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, a sophomore. And at quarterback, Leo Hamlet from Northfield, New Jersey, the senior. On defense for Delaware, the ends are Josh Mastrangelo from Carmel, New York, a senior, and Rob Hyman from Franklin Lakes, New Jersey, a junior. At guards, or rather at tackles, Mark Hondrew of Pittsburgh, a senior, and Jim Egan from Towson, Maryland, a senior, will start at the other right tackle spot. The linebackers are Jeff Gardner from Yardley, a senior, Brian Smith in the middle from Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, junior, and on the right side, Dennis Hume of Richboro, Pennsylvania, junior. The secondary, the cornerbacks, Dorrell Green from Capitol Heights, Maryland, a junior, and Jamie Bell from Morristown, New Jersey, another junior. And the safeties at strong, Kenny Bailey of Harrington, a senior, and Dale Kashevsky from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, he's a junior. And the Matt Slap Subaru starting lineups offensively for William and Mary. At tight end, Gary Foster. The left tackle is Greg Worley. The left guard, Josh Byer. The center, Brian Sorrell. The right guard is Dan Rossatini. At right tackle, John Tesa. The wide receivers are Josh Whipple. He's from Falmouth, Maine. And Billy Cummins from Fairfax Station, Virginia. The fullback, Jay Hamrick of Spencer, West Virginia. The tailback, Alvin Porch. He's from Bowie, Maryland. And the quarterback, sophomore Mike Cook from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. On defense for William and Mary, the Tribe will use at left end Mike Bertoni from Salisbury, Maryland. The left tackle, Brian Giamo of Toms River, New Jersey. At right tackle, Pete Coyne from Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. The right end is Luke Cullinane from Purcellville, Virginia. And the linebackers, Jude Waddy from District Heights, Maryland. On the left side, in the middle, Mike McGowan of Hamilton, Mass. And on the right side, Stephen Moody of Columbia, South Carolina. And in the secondary for William and Mary, the cornerbacks are Kendrick Ashton and Ron Harrison, and the strong safety, Sean McDermott, and the free safety, Darren Sharper of Glen Allen, Pennsylvania. This is a strong lineup, a veteran lineup, Don, as you know. And some of these guys are All-America candidates. They have a ferocious front four.
We do know the wind is to their back. And this game is set to begin here in Williamsburg, Virginia, Zabel Stadium at Cary Field, the official name for this facility. Shawcross pointing to his teammates, checking to see if they're ready. He's been given the go-ahead. And this game is underway. The kick's going to come down short. Batts will take it at the 17 to the 25, down the sideline, 35, upended at the 43-yard line by the kicker, Brian Shawcross. And that's a nice return on the short kickoff. 25-yard return, and Delaware will start the football at the 43-yard line.
That was a poor kickoff by Shawcross. He got it to the right man. As far as Delaware is concerned, they've got very good field position to begin.
He headed immediately for the sideline, and now Leo Hamlet brings them out with Batts and Conti split wide right. Hamlet will hand it off right up the middle to Andre Thompson, gets a couple right to the 45-yard line, and that is it. You know, 2 years ago, when Delaware lost here 31-7, Leo Hamlet played such a poor game that they yanked him before the game was over, and he never got back in the starting lineup until Keith Langen went down with an injury, I believe, in the 7th or 8th game of the season. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, bad history. Huh?
Leo, the quarterback now in his senior year, 2nd down and 8 at the 45-yard line. Here's the snap, the option. He's going to turn it up, and he barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. as green shirts all over the place, getting to him. Among those making the tackle for the Tribe of William and Mary was Mike Bertoni, one of the defensive ends, as he turned it in.
They're going to have a lot of trouble running against this William and Mary team, which is, along with Delaware, the two best at rushing defense in the Yankee Conference. Both of them are around 83 yards per game.
That's incredible, both these teams. Conti wide left on third down, back to throw. Hamlet, swing pass out to Thompson, 45 to the 50. He's short of the first down. He's upended on that play at the 50 by Sean McDermott, the strong safety. He'll come up 3 shy of a first down, and for the first series, Delaware is 3 and out.
Well, you know, it's hard to believe, but the game last year against William and Mary was Leo Hamlet's best of the year throwing the ball, his best percentage. As a matter of fact, it was his best game since then, and including this year.
And they only won by 3 because William and Mary had a tremendous comeback in that game. Deep is Darren Sharper, who is an All-American safety. Here is the punt by Scott White. It's a beaut. It's a spiral. Sharper will take it at the 11. He's going to go right up the middle, and he is knocked down at the 22-yard line, and that's where the Tribe of William and Mary will start their first possession of the game. First and 10 at their own 22-yard line. Mike Cook is the quarterback. He is just a sophomore. 28 yards on the kick. And he gets it out to the 22. Wide right is Billy Commons. Wide left is Josh Whipple. And the Tribe starts with their first possession. Alvin Porch is the running back, the tailback. Hamrick, the fullback, goes in motion, now reverses, comes back to throw. There's the throw by Cook. It's caught by Commons at the 28, and he is driven backward by Dennis Hume, Jamie Bell, and Dale Koshelski.
Well, this kid Cook, who at one time was offered a scholarship at Delaware, is only a sophomore. He throws for about 57% on the season. He can throw the short stuff, but he, unlike a lot of quarterbacks we've seen earlier this year, Don, can also throw long.
2nd and 4 at the 28-yard line. That was a gain of 6. Commons is wide left. Foster, the tight end. It's a strong, actually, it's a balanced formation. Now here goes the handoff to the middle of the porch to the 40. It's a foot race. 50 in Delaware territory. Down to the 30, 20. Pulled down from behind by Darrell Green at the 11-yard line of Delaware. A big run by Alvin Porch down the sideline. 61 yards, and that's almost to Delaware's per game average that they give up of 83 or 84 yards a game.
How about that? That was a simple breakdown by Delaware on the left side, and Porch took advantage of it. He spurted through a big hole there. There's the breakdown, and nobody's there to cover either in the secondary or up front. And this guy Porch has lots and lots of speed, and if it weren't for the angle, he would have been taken all the way into the end zone.
Great block on Jeff Gardner that sprung him loose. Here is the first down play at the 11. Back to throw. Cook, little out pattern. It goes to Whipple. He's got it in the end zone for a William and Mary touchdown. Josh Whipple on the hookup from Cook for 11 yards, and William and Mary is on the board.
Didn't take them long to do that. The big run by Porch, of course, and the breakdown by Delaware's defense. The little pass by Cook to Whipple, and it's just like that, 6-0.
Josh Whipple's a big guy. He's 6'2", 215. He presents a big target. Nice fade pass into the end zone. Shawcross on the extra point attempt. Snap, kick is up, and the kick is good. There's a timeout on the field. 11:46 left in the quarter. The PNC, obviously, the shortest was play 1 at 6 yards on the pass. The long run by Porch, and the 11-yard touchdown throw from Cook to Josh Whipple.
William and Mary comes up year after year with these fine tailbacks. We can remember guys like Green, Clemens, Fitzgerald. There have been several of them in the past decade, and I guess Porch is just carrying on that tradition.
Well, they lost more than 2,000 yards in rushing from 2 running backs that graduated last year. But Alvin Porch, coming into this game, had rushed for more than 850 yards and was among the league leaders. And we saw why there. He has terrific speed once he gets to the secondary. Well, Delaware down already 7-0. And Shawcross will kick off with Conti and bats deep again. And the kick is going to go to the sideline. They're kicking away from Conti. Batts is going to field it at the 1 on the bounce. Out to the 10, 15, 20, down the sideline, run out of bounds. Beyond the 20 at the 21-yard line, and that's where Delaware will take over for their second possession.
Well, Delaware has to, of course, play from behind, and to do so early in the ball game is going to probably make some sort of a revision in their game plan. It looks like because they're going to have so much trouble running against this team, they'll have to throw. They'll be looking for some short stuff in the flats. Jimmy
Laycock said before the game that whichever offense can solve the other team's defense first will win, and so far his team's done that. 1st and 10, handoff to Thompson. Thompson is pulled down by Stephon Moody at the 23-yard line around the ankles. Moody, one of the better linebackers in the Yankee Conference. That's a gain of just a couple. Actually, they'll put it out to the 24, so it's a 3-yard pickup.
Looked like on the play as if Delaware's offense sort of tightened up on the wing backs. They brought them in a little bit closer to the middle of the line. Let's see if they do that again. They're in pretty tight.
And they are. Going back to the left is key. Back to throw. Hamlet will out pass. It goes to Conti at the 30 and run out of bounds at the 31, 32-yard line. First down, Delaware. They'll spot it actually at the 33-yard line. That's a pickup of 12 on the play, and Delaware's got a first down. So the first down of the game for Delaware as they advance the chains out to their own 33-yard line. Still overcast here in Williamsburg, Virginia, and a cold day. Only in the 40s right now. Wide left is Courtney Batts. And here is Hamlet on the option. And he pitches it out the far side to Key, who's run out of bounds after about a yard. Leo pitched it at the last second, and maybe a yard gain out to the 34-yard line. 2nd down 9.
That's the play that Delaware has always used against the sideline on the short side, which always seems to befuddle some people, but it's the play that has been one of their best in the playbook for many years.
2nd down 9 at the 34-yard line. Hamlet drops back to throw, looks right. There's a pass to Conti, runs out of bounds with it at the 41-yard line. Short of the first down by 2. It'll be 3rd down and 2. That's a 7-yard gain.
Well, looks like that's going to be it, Don. If Delaware can continue that sort of stuff, throwing to the sidelines in the flat, they might be able to move the ball downfield in a nice long drive without doing anything as far as the rushing game is concerned.
That's a tough pass to defend, that little turnout to the sidelines that Conti has done twice in this drive. 3rd and 2, though. Big play here. Delaware doesn't want to have to kick the ball again this soon in the game. Hamlet, he's going to bootleg right. He's in trouble. Snowed under back at the 37-yard line for a loss of 4 on the play, as the penetration by that front 4 and the linebacker Jude Waddy gets him for a 4-yard loss.
William and Mary didn't bite on that at all. A little play action, and Leo really never had a chance. They were all over him before he really got back to the line of scrimmage.
So that'll mean White will go back to punt. Sharper deep at his own 23-yard line. White at the 25 of Delaware to kick for the Blue Hens. Needs a good kick here. Here comes a rush. Gets it away. It's low. It's going to bounce at the 35, and it'll be down at the inside the 30-yard line. Timeout on the field. 10:16 to play in the first quarter. With the score, William and Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. Today in Ireland to Notre Dame, 54-27. We're told the score was on that game. 1st and 10. Mike Cook, the quarterback. Whipple in motion. And back to throw, rolling right is Cook. He's going to go deep down the field. It's a wobbler. It's up for grabs. It is picked off by Darrell Green. 45, 40, actually 35, out to the 43-yard line. He caught it at his own 35, and that was a pickoff by Darrell Green, as that was a wounded duck, Bill. No question about it.
It really was. Not only that, but Green had Kenny Bailey down there with him. There was double coverage, and Cook just threw this pass. You can see wobbling downfield. The receiver's trying to go for it, but he's up against 2 of Delaware's best defenders, and Green makes the pick.
That was Conklin, the intended receiver. The ball at the Delaware 44-yard line. 1st and 10. Hamlet's going to go back. Back to throw. Looking down the field. He's got Conti over there. It goes right through Eddie's hands. I don't think he saw the ball properly. The ball was there, and Conti just didn't get his hands on it.
Now, he
almost looked like he short-armed the ball.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? He was right under the ball. It was perfectly thrown by Leo.
And he can't believe that he didn't catch it.
Yeah, you know, he is fast. I mean, I didn't realize how fast Eddie Conti was until I saw him playing tennis by himself. That kind of gives you an idea.
Well, that one, though, that was perfectly thrown by Hamlet. And Conti, for some reason, didn't have his arms out far enough. Second down and 10. Bats wide right. Key in motion. Back to throw. Rolling right is Hamlet. Gets rid of the football. Overthrows Courtney Bats to the sidelines at the 45-yard line. He is laid out at the end of that pass play defensively.
He's shaking.
Leo's very slow getting up. Justin Solomon, the defensive end that drilled him after that pass.
Boy, he really flattened him, didn't he?
So it's going to be third down and 10. Boy, you say, what if on that pass to Eddie Conti?
Leo got up and he was sort of shaking his right hand as if maybe the wrist sort of ground into the turf when he was flattened. He's still in there.
Conti wide right. Bats to the short side. That's the left side. And it's third down and 10. Back to throw. Here's the blitz. They pick it up. It's a wounded duck pass again. Conti bumped off the play, but it's intercepted. No call. And he's brought down at the 34-yard line. The interception by Ron Harrison. And boy, that sure looked like he was bumped, but I'm sure they're going to say that they were both gone for the football, and Leo Hamlet is beside himself. I thought it should have been a penalty.
Yeah, it gave every indication of that. When you say bump, you exactly describe what happened, because Eddie was there and just got knocked out of the play.
Again, that was a wobbly pass, and they both went up for it, and it was a bump on the play by Harrison, but no call. First and 10, 34-yard line for William and Mary. Back to throw is Cook on first down. Across the middle, there's the tight end Foster. He's got the ball at the 38 and knocked down by Koscielski after a gain of about 5 yards.
Well, it's been an exciting game so far with the long run by Porch, the touchdown, and an exchange of interceptions here so far.
Gain of 4, they'll say, at the 38-yard line. Second down, 6. We have 9:14 remaining. First period, and the Tribe up 7-0. Cook, the quarterback. Again, Whipple goes in motion. And here is the option play. Pitch goes back to Porch. He's trying to sweep wide. He's across the 40, 45, run out of bounds. And first down territory at the 47-yard line. Alvin Porch running for the William and Mary first down.
He's got speed. Delaware not enough speed in their pursuit to track him down until he gets the first down.
Alvin Porch is short at 5'8" and 195, but he's rushing for 4.5 yards per carry this year in his first opportunity. And today his average is 35 yards per carry. And that's not a bad average. There's the first down at the 47-yard line for William and Mary. Delaware looking blitz. Now they back off. Long count. Back to throw is Cook. Looks left. There's Whipple out there at the 48 of Delaware. Run out of bounds at the 45-yard line of Delaware. And that's a nice first down pickup. It's short the first down by 2 yards, but Darrell Green corrals him and throws him out of bounds at the 45. There's a penalty back at the line of scrimmage, and it's going to be against William and Mary. No, check it. It's going to be against Delaware. Offsides on Delaware. They were all facing towards as if they were going to march it off against William and Mary, but it's an offside call against the Blue Hens. Yeah, they're discussing whether to take the penalty or not, which would make it 1st and 5 or 2nd and 2. If they don't, they're going to take the penalty and go 1st down and 5. That's odd.
Well, Jimmy Laycock makes that decision, and he's been around long enough to know what he wants, but you're right, it is an odd call, isn't it? 1st and 5.
I'd say he's been in that position before, though. Here's the 1st and 5 at the Delaware 48-yard line. In motion again is Whipple. He moves left to right and looking to throw. Rolling right is Cook. Wants to go down the field. Now he's going to run. He's got room. 45. He is hit at the 40 and runs down to the 38 as he drives forward for 2 more yards. Gardner hitting him. Hondru coming to help out along with Mastrangelo, and he got first down yardage, and it was obviously an okay call by Jimmy Laycock.
Yeah, sure was. There was plenty of good coverage by Delaware secondary downfield, but the rest of the team, like the defensive ends and tackles and the cornerback and linebackers, had trouble catching up with Cook.
1st and 10 at the Delaware 38-yard line as Commons and Whipple are split to the right. And at fullback right now is Michael Hertz. Porch still the tailback. Here's a handoff, delay goes to Porch, 35, 30-yard line, run out of bounds on a nice little delay off tackle. Koscielski and Kenny Bailey drive him out of bounds, short of the first down, but right near the 30-yard line. It'll be about 2 yards, maybe a yard shy. Now they're going to measure it. Now they're going to say it's close to the 28-yard line. So they're going to bring the chains all the way across the field and measure this one.
William and Mary got some fine blocking, as they have on several plays so far in this quarter from the right side of the line. And every time they get that blocking, they sort of turn the Delaware defenders in toward the center of the line of scrimmage. They just can't keep up with the pursuit.
Well, it's apparently short. We can't see exactly because of the William and Mary team around it, but it's not short by much. Looks like it may be only inches. Oh man, the nose of the football is about an inch short of the first down at the 28-yard line of Delaware. Boy, and Delaware has not solved this William and Mary offense yet.
No, they've got to halt them here, though. Another touchdown here in this first quarter is going to make it awfully difficult.
Still a lot of time left in the period. 8:15 and the Tribe already leading 7-0. Billy Commons is wide right. Josh Whipple in the slot right. And Porch the lone setback. Hertz is on the wing left. Here's the handoff to Porch. Goes outside. He's got a first down inside the 25 to the 24 as Mastrangelo, Gardner, Koscielski all making the tackle. First down, William and Mary. They're inside the 25, just about to the 24-yard line. And the Blue Hens trying to keep this William and Mary team out of the end zone to give their offense a chance. 1st and 10. Conklin is to the right now. Hamrick also in there in the backfield. Back to throw. Cook looks down the field, got time, gets rid of the football. There's Conklin to the 6, goes out of bounds. Everybody was playing way off of him on that play, Bill.
At least 5 yards off. On the left side, Jamie Bell, or Koscielski, who was there to try and help out. But the receiver had he had all kinds of real estate to himself. As Cook just takes a look over there, that's his only look, his only receiver, and he's wide open over on the right side. 5 to 7 yards off of him.
Boy, that was way too soft on Conklin. It's at the 7, 1st and goal from the 7. Whipple in motion now reverses his field. Here's a handoff to Porch. He's up the middle to the 6-yard line to the 5, and that's where he's brought down after a gain of 2 yards. Hondrew and Hyman in on the tackle along with Dennis Hume. Gain of 2 to the 5.
Tackled by number 55.
So it'll be 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line, and William and Mary trying to shock the Blue Hens from the outset here with the 2nd touchdown. 7:18 left first quarter. Jimmy Laycock, an outstanding coach, and he's got another fine football team here this year. Cook over center. In motion is Whipple. Roll out left. Cook looking to throw to Whipple again. Gets rid of the football over the head of Commons. That was his intended receiver, and off the fingertips and incomplete. Pretty good coverage out there that time by Delaware in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, well, of course, when you're down in close like that, your coverage is in the end zone. You've only got 10 yards to worry about, so you tighten it up quite a bit.
First time that William and Mary has been faced with a 3rd down situation in this game. That shows the efficiency of their first 2 downs so far. It's 3rd and goal from the Delaware 5-yard line with Conklin right, Foster the tight end left. In the slot right is Whipple, and Porch is the tailback. In motion is Hamrick, the fullback. Here's a handoff to Porch inside the 5 to the 2, perhaps, maybe stopped at the 3. We'll see where they untangle the bodies. Alvin Porch, I believe, gets it down to the 2-yard line. And it'll be 4th down and goal. Now they're going to spot it at the 3. Perhaps just inside the 3, and that'll make it 4th down. And Brian Shawcross is out to try to tack on 3 points as Delaware's defense inside the 10 holds. Cook is the holder. Of course, when you got your starting quarterback as a holder, you better watch out. You're the defense. Shawcross is going to be a 20-yarder. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. No good. There's a timeout on the field. 6:18 left in the period. The PNC Bank timeout score. William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. Attempt, and the Hens have it to start at their own 20. Still in the first quarter. Hamlet over center, hands it off. This is nice. Option play. He's going to take it himself. Fake well into the line to Thompson and kept it for 2 yards after the 22, maybe 23-yard line. I guess he'll spot it at the 23. That's a 3-yard pickup. We have 6:05 left in the quarter, and William & Mary has dominated this first period. Yardage, it's no comparison. But, Bill, when you think the pass to Eddie Conti, that what might have been, we might have had a 7-7 game.
Yes, very easily. And William & Mary had another chance after their interception, but couldn't capitalize.
Second down, there's movement, and it looked like, let's see, if they were drawn off. Bertoni jumped for William & Mary, but let's see, was he drawn offside? I believe he might have been. That's the way they're moving Delaware, as if Mike Bertoni was drawn offside. And now let's see. No, it's offside on William & Mary. Definitely saw Bertoni jump. Did not see if anyone drew him offside, but it's going to be a 5-yard walk-off, and that'll make it 2nd down and 2 out of the 28. So a break for the Hens there. Breeze not too much of a factor right now. It seems that the breeze has died down a little bit. It'll be 2nd down and 8 out of the 28-yard line. Hamlet going to hand the ball right to Thompson, and he battles forward across the 30 on the slant off tackle. He's got a 1st down just beyond the 30-yard line. So that'll advance the chains. 1st and 10 for Delaware.
On the play, the wingback on the right side made a little motion. I guess you'd call it false motion, anything to try and get that defensive front from keying in, and it was good enough to get the 1st down.
Now the defensive front, led by Luke Cullinane, he's got 10 sacks on the year. Back to throw, Hamlet on 1st down. Little pass goes out to Coleman across the 35. Run out of bounds at the 38-yard line, just about the 38. So that's a pickup on the play of nearly 8 yards. About 7.5. It'll be 2nd down and a short 3. Ball just shy of the 38-yard line. And rarely, Bill, has Delaware thrown to the backs coming out of the backfield this year.
Yeah, you're right, Don. That is something that a lot of people have wondered about. But you've got Conti and Batts, and of course they're the main receivers. But there's always that possibility of got those backs, and maybe this will be the game where they do it more often, especially in the flat. Not very often deep to the backs, but in the flat or over the middle.
And Batts and Conti are split wide left. That's the wide side of the field on a 2nd down play. Here is Hamlet. He's going to run the option, pitches it back to Key, and he slips trying to cut at the 38-yard line and goes down shy of the 1st down as he tried to plant his foot on the far sideline and just went out from under him.
Yep.
That one had the makings of a 1st down if he maintained his footing, but now it's going to be 3rd down. That's really a gain of maybe the length of the football, and it's 3rd down and 2. Down to 4:35 left in this first quarter. It seems like it's been a long first quarter time-wise. And here's the 3rd down play with Batts split to the left. Hamlet back to throw. Pump fakes. Now goes out with it to Coleman at the 40. Cuts it up the field to the 43-yard line. He's got a 1st down.
Nice fake there by Leo. Everything was aimed to the left for Batts over on the wide side of the field, and Leo pivoted then, and he had the man open in the right flat.
That was a nice job. And then when Coleman caught it, I was a little concerned because he stepped back short of the 1st down and then managed to get 1st down territory. He made a cut back to try and elude people and then battled for 3 more yards. So Norm gets the 1st down out at the beyond the 43-yard line, and 1st and 10. Conti and Batts to the left again. In motion is Key. Up the middle it goes to Thompson across the 45. 48-yard line as he is spun down by Stefan Moody. Darren Sharper also in on the tackle with Moody. And it'll be second down at about a little more than 5, I guess.
When Leo throws the ball in this ball game, he's going to have to get rid of it in a hurry. That defensive front is in on him very quickly. And if he's going to do anything in the way of drop back, it won't be more than 3 steps, I would think.
And the advantage for William & Mary is they don't have to bring their linebackers off because they get such penetration. Here's the pump fake, throw down the field by Hamlet. He's looking for Batts, but he was several yards off. He really threw it down the middle of the field. And, you know, I think Batts was just shielded from making any kind of a cut into the middle of the field. And Courtney's running a little bit stiff-legged coming back. I don't know if he got a little bit of a cramp. I know he had a severe cramp problem last week in the game against JMU. Now he comes off the field. It'll be third down at about 5. Another big play for the Blue Hens. Coleman and McGraw in at halfback now. Back to throw. On third down, there's a swing pass to McGraw, 48, 45, down to the 42-yard line. And that's a first down for the Blue Hens. Making the tackle for William & Mary was Mike Beverly at the 42-yard line. Swing pass to Greg McGraw.
You know, I think the only passes that are really going to work are going to be these sideline passes. Anything over the middle, you might as well forget. William & Mary is one of the expert teams in the Yankee Conference at setting picks, if you will, in there. You've got any kind of crossing pattern, you got that secondary and the linebackers. They can just pick you off, and it's not legal, of course, but it's very difficult to detect.
Darren Sharper, among the best in the Yankee Conference in that secondary. He's got 5 interceptions this year. He's an All-American. Here is Hamlet. He's going to hand it off. It goes to Thompson, maybe a yard to the 41, perhaps the 40-yard line. And Cullinane, along with Bertoni, making the tackle there. And Pete Coyne, who was a second team All-Yankee Conference performer a year ago.
Delaware's running game was in high gear last week against James Madison, but it doesn't look as if they're going to be able to shift back into high gear today with a running game in the middle, Don.
And has not been effective so far today. 2:18 left in this first quarter still. It's 7-0, William & Mary. Hamlet on the second down and a long 8. Here's Hamlet. There's a throw to the sideline to Conti. He's got it inside the 35 and wrestled down at the 33-yard line. And he'll be a little bit shy of the first down by maybe a yard, just inside actually the 34. And it'll be third down. Next week, Navy. The week after that, the final game of the year, the regular season game, at home against Rhode Island. Conti, a little sideline pattern. He's run that about 3 or 4 times now. It's now third down. And a long 1, short 2.
Double tight end situation.
Here's Rich Conway, the handoff sweep. Got the first down, I believe. Down to the 32. He's near the 32-yard line. Let's see where they're going to spot the ball. And it is a first down, Delaware, at the 32-yard line. He came from the left halfback position, the former St. E star. And Conway gets the first down for the Blue Hens and keeps the drive going.
And this drive began back at their own 20-yard line. Ted Kemsky, the offensive coordinator for the Blue Hens, did not think the Hens would be able to drive the ball today, but this is a pretty decent one so far.
Just inside the 32, first and 10, Delaware with Batts and Conti spread wide left. In motion is Coleman. Here's Hamlet. He's rolling right, looking to throw. Gets rid of the ball. There's Batts behind him. Sharper's got it. 30, 35, knocked out of bounds. At the 40-yard line, it was thrown behind Courtney Batts, and Darren Sharper, the great ball hawk in this secondary, picked it off and runs it back to the 40. There's a timeout on the field with 50 seconds left in the period, and the score is William & Mary 7 and Delaware. For the interception by Darren Sharper. Mike Cook, the quarterback. He could have been a Blue Hen. Recruited by Delaware. Here's the handoff. It goes up the middle to Porch. He's got 4 yards out to the 44 and finally dragged down. He is a strong runner as well as fast. Soltis on the tackle, and at the bottom of that pile up is Koshelski.
On that interception by Sharper, Delaware figured that they would be able to fake him off with some action to the left side, but Sharper's quick. He just stepped right in front of the intended receiver, coming from way off the ball to make the grab.
Done an awful lot of that, faking one way and rolling back the other way to throw the football this afternoon. A gain of 5 out to the 45-yard line, probably the last play of the first quarter. Cook over center with a count. Here's a handoff again to Porch across the 45, 50, into Delaware territory, down to the 44-yard line. Gardner on the tackle around the ankles, and that's going to advance the chains and put it into Delaware territory at the 44, and that should be the last play of the first quarter. And it is. We have come to the end of the first quarter of play here in Williamsburg with the score, William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. 10. Mike Cook, the quarterback. Conklin is to the right, Whipple to the left. And Hamrick, the fullback, in motion. He looks to block on the left side. Back to throw is Cook. Gets rid of the ball behind Conklin, and he drops the ball at the 30-yard line. He had the ball wide open, but it was behind him, and he couldn't hang on.
Well, that's the second time that Cook and Whipple have hooked up like that, with Whipple being played so softly by the Delaware secondary. And if it wasn't thrown just a little bit behind him, that would have been a big gainer.
Let's check the Concord-Pence College football scoreboard update. Northeastern leading JMU in the first quarter 7-0. Give you a couple of more scores in a moment. 2nd and 10 at the 44-yard line. And there is movement, jumped by the tight end, Foster. William & Mary, that'll be a 5-yard walk-off. Michigan leads Michigan State 7-3 in the second quarter. 6-0 Tennessee over South Carolina. Here's a shocker. Miami of Florida and Temple are tied after one, 14-14.
That is a shocker. I wonder how long that'll last.
Well, probably not long, but just to have a tie game at the end of one quarter is a moral victory for the Owls, probably. No other scores yet from the Yankee Conference. As soon as we get some, we'll give them to you. Ball right at the 50-yard line. And now we're getting them, just like that. Second down, handoff goes to Porch. Porch to the 45, to the 42-yard line. He's finally driven down to the 42. That's an 8-yard gain on the tackle. Salties and Dale Koshelski. And Bill, I'm shocked at how well they've been able to run against the Delaware defense.
They have had a definite edge. You could say almost an overwhelming edge at the line of scrimmage. They've been blasting the holes open in the Delaware front and the linebackers, and we've got some real good ones, just haven't been able to do the job.
Third down and 7. The ball at the 42-yard line. In motion is Whipple. Delaware looked like they almost jumped. Now they get back to throw is Cook. Little pressure, a little swing pass to Porch. He's out to the 40, tackled from behind by Kenny Bailey at the 38-yard line, and that prevented him from getting to the first down marker.
Delaware's got to put some more pressure on Cook. The guy can drop back, though, to a 7-step drop if he has to, and take some time back there. But Delaware's pressure is not doing the job. They're getting blocked out. That time they had a little more pressure, but not enough to really get to Cook.
Michael Partlow in there now, and now William & Mary wants to call a timeout as they were not getting the play in quickly enough. So there's a timeout of the field. 13:41 left in the second period with the score. William & Mary 7 and Delaware. A couple of those other scores as we get them for you. Here is the fourth down play. They're going to go for it. Michael Partlow came into the lineup. I think he came back out again. Now in motion is Whipple. 4th and about 3, and back to throw, rolling left. There's Cook. Gets rid of the football, almost picked off by Bailey, who stepped in front of Josh Whipple. Dropped the ball, but Delaware will take over at their own 38-yard line. Bailey almost with the second Delaware interception of the game. Alvin Porch. Looks like, that's not Porch. Let's see who that is. Somebody shake it up for William & Mary. It's one of their linemen. And they're going to go out and check on him. But Delaware will take over at their own 38-yard line. And Bill, it's amazing it's only 7-0. You watch the game and the flavor of the game, and it certainly seems as if William & Mary has totally dominated this early part of this football game.
Delaware is just
getting off on his own power. 6'1" and 280 is Mr. Worley. And Delaware will take over at their own 38-yard line. And Blue Hens trying to get something going offensively. Last week, over 450 yards, tops for the year, and 27 points. Here is the option by Hamlet. Oh, he throws it past Coleman. It's loose, and Hamlet falls on it back at the 15. He's driven. Oh, he still loses the ball. He's driven out of bounds at the, or the ball goes out of bounds at the 13, 14-yard line. 24-yard loss on the play, and Bill, that was
horrendous. There was nothing that would keep. Here he is now, Hamlet. He's got no pressure on him. He just simply throws the ball over Key's head.
He was only about a yard and a half away, and he never should have pitched it at that point.
Over Coleman's head.
So he's at the 14-yard line, and it'll be second down. 34 yards to go from their own 14-yard line. And Coleman in at halfback. Now Delaware's going to have to take a timeout because they're down to 5 seconds on the play clock.
We'll see all season long.
First, make that second down and 34 at the 14, and Hamlet goes back to throw. Looks across the middle. There's Conti. Got the ball. 25. Skirts outside. Run out of bounds at the 28, 29-yard line. Eddie Conti cut across the middle, and he was wide open. And Hamlet hit him with a perfect pass.
Well, they made up a big chunk of the yardage that they had lost a while ago, but Delaware is still halfway from here to Richmond.
Ball's at the 29-yard line, so it'll be third down now, and about 15 to go, 14 to go. I don't know, my math is faulty, but it's third and still quite a bit to go. About 17, I guess. I heard him say 19. Anybody for 20? Back to throw. Hamlet on third down. Pressure. And he loses his footing. He is tripped up at the 24-yard line. That's Cullinane, the guy who had 10 sacks coming into the game, now records his 11th of the year, and Delaware will kick the football. Now the crowd loving it here at William & Mary. Well, they should. They've got a good football team, and they're playing well today. Sharper back at his own 36 to receive the punt. White will have the wind to his back. Here's a snap. Pressure, but he gets it away. It's a spiral. It's low. Sharper takes it back at the 35. And he's going to go to the near sideline and run out of bounds there by Rico at the 47-yard line. So that's where the Tribe will take over. 29-yard punt. 29-yard punt. And Sharper, it was really so low that Delaware couldn't get very good coverage on it. First and 10 at the 47-yard line, and the Tribe of William & Mary with a 7-0 lead has the ball again.
One of those games where you figure that the Delaware defense is going to be on the field for a long, long time.
Tony Harris in there instead of Alvin Porch, who was being worked on the sidelines. First and 10, and here is the fake delay handoff. Roll right. There's the throw, and thrown away by Cook, and that one looked like it was thrown just to get rid of the football, but no flag thrown. It's an incomplete pass.
First time the Delaware really had any coverage, and that was Mastrangelo chasing Cook back there and forcing him to dump the pass away.
Mastrangelo getting good pressure on him from his down lineman position. Of course, he is a converted linebacker. He was a linebacker his first 2 years at Delaware and a defensive end his last 2. Second down and 10. Whipple wide left. Conklin to the right. Partlow in the slot right. And Harris is the running back. Cook with a long count. He'll hand it off to Harris. Cuts across to the 50. 48-yard line of Delaware as Koshelski, Hyman, and Salty's making the tackle. But again, Bill, he's getting through the line, and the secondary men are having to make the tackles.
The right guard and right tackle are doing a nice job for William & Mary on offense. That's Dan Rossatini and John Teza. That's about the third or fourth time they've opened a huge gap in the left side of the Delaware defensive front.
And they go 295 and 280, so there's some meat on the hoof on that side of the line, and they're doing a good job. It's third down and about 5, short 5. And Cook goes back to throw. Swing pass left. It goes to Harris. Harris is upended by Darrell Green at the 47-yard line, and William & Mary will have to kick the football.
Best defensive stand for the Blue Hens so far, and of course they were lucky to get out of this to begin with after that bad pitch by Leo Hamlet on the previous Delaware possession that almost put them back in the end zone.
It'll be fourth down. Shawcross will be back at his own 40-yard line to kick, and Conti is the lone deep man for Delaware back at his own 15-yard line. Shawcross will be punting into a little bit of a breeze. And he gets the kick away. It's not particularly good. It's wobbly. Conti takes it at the 19. Spun around and thrown down by a face mask. And that ought to be an intentional one, not just an inadvertent one. He was yanked around and thrown to the ground by the mask.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was very blatant.
That's not a 5-yarder. That's a long one right there. And if it's not the long one, we'll ought to allow the officials to come up and watch a replay so they can.
Well, sometimes officiating is not exactly the best kind of a job you can have. It's something like embalming. Nobody likes to do it, but it has to be done by somebody, you know.
And let's see, they're going to watch this off, and it will be the long one, and that's a good call by the officials. Out to the 33-yard line, and that was quite a yank by Conti. I think his neck is 3 inches longer now than when he started.
Yeah, you could see his neck being twisted around as.
Oh, just thrown to the ground.
Boy.
So Delaware will have it 1st and 10 at their own 33-yard line with 10:58 left, second period. Hamlet inside handoff goes to Coleman, and nothing there at all as he is stopped. And the guy getting the hand on the ankle was Bertoni. And he's a good one. And Pete Coyne also in there. Coleman, the first time he's run the football, he has caught a pass out of the backfield. That's a gain of a yard. And he's at the 34-yard line, 2nd down 9. Double wide outs to the left, Conti and Batts, the two guys that have been so consistent this year for Delaware on offense. Hamlet hands off. There's a sweep. It goes to Coleman, and he gets it across the 35 to the 36 on the sweep left, and not much gone there either.
Delaware hasn't even given a thought to a counter or to running the Sally so far, almost through the first half. Oh, we got 10 minutes to go in this second quarter, but they haven't even tried that because they know that William and Mary is so strong against the run that there's nothing going to be productive that way.
So it'll be 3rd down and a long 7 yards just beyond the 35-yard line. And a passing situation staring Delaware in the face right here. And Leo drops straight back. Here comes the blitz. He gets rid of the football. It's low and dropped by Batts. He couldn't come back quite enough to get the football. And Delaware will kick, and this William and Mary crowd on its feet for the defense, which has been superb this afternoon. Scott White back to kick, and Sharper, who does it all for William and Mary, is back to receive the punt. 9:38 clock stopped after that incomplete pass. William and Mary should have good field position. Nice snap. Here is the kick. It's a high spiral, pretty good. And Sharper takes it at the 26-yard line, and that's going to be it for him as Darrell Green got him right at the 26-yard line. And William and Mary, they're going to actually call it back at the 24. He was knocked back 2 yards, and that's where the Tribe will take over.
That was a nice play by Green because he was practically on the ground, blocked out when he reached out and grabbed Sharper and prevented any kind of a run back.
Well, William and Mary taking over at its own 24-yard line. And again, Harris still in the backfield, so apparently Alvin Porch with a bit of an injury. We'll hope to get you updated on that. Mike Cook is the quarterback, and Whipple is in motion for the Tribe. And he's going to go back to throw. Looks for Whipple. Now rolls out. He has nobody open. Now he's going to have to run the football. He's got a little bit of running room out to the 25, to the 27-yard line. And Dennis Hume brings him down. A shoe top tackle by Dennis Hume at the 27-yard line. So he gets 3 yards out of nothing.
Now that was nice coverage in the secondary off in the flat by Delaware. Cook was looking over that way. He saw that coverage, figured, hey, I got to get out of here, but he didn't get out too far.
They did bottle up, however, the defensive lineman, and then took the linebacker Hume to come up and make the tackle. 2nd down 7 at the 27. And Mike Cook with his signals now drops back, hands it off to Harris, is running back out to the 30-yard line. He's pulled down at the 31 by Kenny Bailey. And on that play, that's a gain of 4 yards out to the 31-yard line.
And again, it's that big gap into the middle of the defense set up by Delaware in the front 4. And in there with Mark Hondrew, he's just being outgamed, if not outweighed or both. He's only 250, And that's pretty small for a defensive tackle in anybody's league these days.
3rd down and 3. And the ball at the 31-yard line. Cook with a call. Delaware showing blitz here. And here comes Smith from the outside. Here is the one-on-one pass down the sideline. Conklin can't get it. Coverage by Derek Underwood. Underwood had his back to him on the play. Has back to the throw. It was incomplete. Conklin couldn't hang on. So it'll be a punting situation for Shawcross. They got him out there in one-on-one situation with a blitz. William & Mary picked up the blitz nicely. Underwood finally turned around, and Conklin reached back but couldn't come up with the ball.
2 pretty good stands defensively by Delaware in the last 2 William & Mary possessions.
Here's Shawcross kicking into the wind. It's a low snap. He bobbles the ball, and he still gets it off. It's not a good one, though. It's going to go out of bounds. Now it's picked up by Conti at the 49-yard line. A run out of bounds. There's a timeout on the field. 7:49 to play in the half. With a score, William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. It's an unpleasant day. Hamlet hands it off, slips the ball to Coleman. Not much running room into William & Mary territory at the 49-yard line, and that's where he is brought down. On the tackle, Darren Sharper in there at the 49-yard line. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Blue Hen Football Network. Two-yard pickup on the play. It's 2nd down and 10. Or 8, I should say. Back to throw. There's Hamlet. His pass low for Batts, but he scoops it at the 42-yard line, and it's caught with coverage on the play by Ron Harrison. But a nice catch by Courtney Batts. He went down like a shortstop to pick that one up.
And he was, of course, an infielder when he was playing baseball for Bob Hanna at Delaware.
Well, maybe that's where it came from.
Could have been.
First catch of the day for Courtney Batts. It's 3rd down and 1 at the Tribe 42-yard line. Hamlet over center. He's going to look to throw. Little out pass goes to Conti. Did he hang on? No, he did not. As he fell over at the 35-yard line, it was a low pass again. And Eddie's saying, come on, you got to get the ball up to me. He's kind of showing him where it was, and that pass was low. So it's 4th down and 1, and Delaware's not going to kick here. They're going to bring in a double tight end situation. Blessing and Vankerkoven, the 2 tight ends. And Delaware going to see if they just can't push that line back, I guess, and get that 1st down.
That's asking a lot, but they've got to do it.
Got the full house backfield in there. Hamlet over center. Let's see if he keeps it himself. Now he's going to hand it off to Thompson, who slips outside, and he's got the 1st down, I think. Maybe not. William & Mary says no. It's at the 41-yard line, and let's see where they spot the ball. It's all going to depend on the spot. Right at the 41-yard line, I think he's got the 1st down. Appears as if he's got it.
Yeah, it looks like
angle.
It looks like it. But you never know when they bring those chains out. Things change precipitously sometimes. But it sure looks like he's got enough there by maybe half the length of the football. Maybe even more.
And stretching it out. And no, he did
not.
How
about that?
Well, I'll tell you what, where they had it on the sideline. Oh, they did get a 1st down.
Make up your mind, guys.
That had to be by the width of the rubber on the football itself.
Yeah.
I mean, that was incredibly close. I don't know if I've ever seen a measurement any closer than that. The William & Mary team was celebrating that he hadn't gotten it. Jimmy Laycock is still yelling on the sidelines that wasn't a 1st down. And Delaware will have the ball at the 41-yard line. Hamlet trying to change some things at the line of scrimmage. Now he's going to go back to throw. Looks down the field. There's Conti going down the field and way over his head by 5 or 6 yards at the goal line. An incomplete pass.
You know, the plays are set up nicely. Delaware's doing a good job. Hamlet's doing a nice job faking. Conti gets downfield and sometimes outruns the secondary, but then it breaks down because of an overthrow like that one.
That one was well overthrown, and actually the coverage looked decent on the play, but the ball was well beyond the speedster Eddie Conti, probably the fastest player on the team. Batts wide left, Conti wide right. At 2nd down 10 at the 41 of William & Mary. Tribe, an excellent defensive team. Back to throw. There's pressure. Steps up, gets rid of the football. Conti turns around, can't catch it as he dives into the end zone for the ball. And again, he was open, wide open. Eddie Conti angling to the right side of the field, and Leo, under tremendous pressure, got rid of the ball, but overthrew his man.
Boy, I'll tell you, if Conti keeps getting loose like that, Leo's simply got to hit him once or twice in this ball game on that kind of a pass pattern. He's just running a straight post pattern. Sometimes he goes to the wrong side, turned around, but I mean, even Eddie Conti can't get to a ball thrown like that.
He dove for it, but it still was 2 or 3 yards beyond him. 3rd down and 10, and Hamlet goes back again. Here comes the blitz. He's not going to get out of this one. Oh, he's still on his feet, and they throw a flag, but he's pulled down at the 48-yard line. It's a loss on the play and also a flag, and usually when they get turned around like that, you've got a hold of some kind. That's probably what it's going to be. It is a hold. That's what Stefan Moody of William & Mary is signaling. And of course, the Tribe will decline the penalty because it'll be 4th down and long yardage for Delaware.
And once again, the Blue Hens have not been able to penetrate any further than the William & Mary 30-yard line. As a matter of fact, their deepest penetration was the 32.
So Sharper goes back to receive the punt. Scott White will stand back at his own 40-yard line. 5:48 remaining in the second quarter. Scott White has been called on to punt several times already today. Here's a snap. It's a good one. Kick is up. It's high. Sharper takes it at the 14, out to the 20, spun around, brought down at the 23-yard line. There's a timeout on the field. 5:27 to play in the half. The PNC Bank timeout score: William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing.
What happened in the second quarter?
Offense kind of moving backwards for the Blue Hens. Alvin Porch back in the lineup for the Tribe. Whipple in motion. And here's a handoff to Porch. He's out to the 25, and that's it. He has stood straight up as Brian Smith, the first to get him around the ankle, and then providing support. Koshelski and Mastrangelo and also Jeff Gardner in there. So that was a gain on the play of 2 yards out to the 25-yard line. It'll be 2nd down 8. 5:04 and the clock running. Second quarter. Delaware has not scored yet today. They were shut out by Villanova earlier this year, 27-0. First time in years they've been shut out. Here is the 2nd down play. On the option, pitch goes to Porch. He's out to the 25, slips trying to cut at the 26, and Bailey will get credited with the tackle there. It slipped, should be back closer to the 26. Actually, they're going to give him the 27-yard line, so it's a 2-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down and 6. So William & Mary has not been any more effective offensively in the second quarter than have the Hens, but Delaware at least has had the benefit of the wind to their back, and maybe that's why Leo's been overthrowing everybody here in the second quarter. 3rd down 6. Mike Cook, the sophomore quarterback for William & Mary, goes back to throw. Here comes pressure by Smith. Dumps the pass off. It's caught by Conklin, and it's short of the 1st down at the 31-yard line. And now William & Mary will have to punt. I tell you, Brian Smith got in there, but he tripped, and by the time he got up, that gave Cook just enough time to get rid of the pass.
First really effective blitz that the Blue Hens have had. You can see how Smith trips. Mastrangelo was there to help out. It all made Cook hasten his throw.
Now Delaware should have good field position after this punt by Shawcross. Conti standing at his own 38-yard line. Certainly plenty of time to do something with it. Here is the kick by Shawcross. It's a spiral. It's low. Conti takes it at the 34. Cuts back. He's still on his feet. Going to go wide. And he goes out to the 37, and that's it. Did a lot of east-west running and not north-south, and gets brought down at the 37. 32-yard punt, runs it back 3 yards to the 37, and that's where Delaware will take over. 1st and 10. We have 3:20 left in the second quarter.
Well, the Delaware defense has been doing its job. 3rd consecutive punt they forced William & Mary into, but now the offense has to step up and do something worthwhile here.
1st and 10, just beyond the 36 actually for the Blue Hens. And here's Hamlet. He's looking to throw. Little swing pass goes out to Batts. He's got the ball. There's a flag thrown on the play. What was that flag? Well, I'll tell you, I don't know that he hit him early at all. The ball hit his hands, and then I thought Batts was hit. But there's a flag thrown, and hopefully we'll get a chance to figure out what's going on this, but there's a flag thrown.
Well, let's see if we can pick this one up again and determine whether or not he was hit before.
No,
that
not
was
at all.
That
Not even close. Ineligible receiver. Now, who was the ineligible receiver on that play? Now, they consider Batts the ineligible receiver because it was thrown right where he was. And how could a wide receiver be ineligible?
Had to have an offensive lineman off the ball across the line of scrimmage. And that would be tough to see.
Yeah.
But the line judge's job is to see exactly that, so that must have been it.
Of course, when it was thrown, I thought, and where it was thrown was peculiar, but it is a penalty on Delaware and loss of down. Second down. Back to the 31-yard line. Second down, 15. The ball was incomplete, so they lose 5 yards on it. Here's the pass by Hamlet. Gets rid of the ball, and Batts can't hang on, and almost picked off by Moody because the ball came off, and Leo Hamlet is hurt. The ball came off of Batts' hands about 5 yards backwards, and Moody almost came up with it. Hamlet is okay. He is up, and he's taking a pounding out there. There's the pass, and boy, just drilled on the play. Boy, Batts almost looked like he was shoveling it backwards after the end of that play. Couldn't hang on, and now it's third down and 15. Boy, this is so frustrating for this offense, which start of the season folks had thought was going to be another high-octane version, and with the exception of a game here and there, has not been. Back to throw on third down, Hamlet. He's run out of the pocket, throws the ball. Coleman can't hang on to the 29-yard line. Incomplete pass, and fourth down for Delaware. So the Blue Hens will kick.
Yeah, the pressure is just immense, of course, on Delaware. When Leo doesn't throw over long, then he hits his receivers and they can't hang on to the ball.
The question I'm asking is, how did William and Mary lose to James Madison?
Yeah, that's a good question. No answer.
Now back to kick is White, and Sharper at his own 30. And we have with just 3:02 left in the first half. Good snap. Good protection. Kick is up. Sharper's going to field the ball at the 30-yard line. Goes up the middle. 35 still on his feet. 40, 41-yard line, and that's where he is brought down. 28-yard kick. And the Tribe will take over at its own 41-yard line. Under 3 minutes to play left in the first half with 2:51 reading on the clock.
7 punts exchanged between these two teams in this second quarter alone.
At the 41, first and 10, William and Mary. Conklin to the right. Whipple split about 5 yards to the left. And back to throw. Cook gets rid of the ball. There's Conklin at the 49 of Delaware. Run out of bounds at the 45-yard line. First down, William and Mary. Let's check the Concord Pets College football scoreboard update in the Yankee Conference. Northeastern leading James Madison 7-0. Villanova 17. Rhode Island 0. Unfortunately, we don't have what point in the game these games are. And New Hampshire and Richmond are all tied up at 7. No score yet on the UConn-Boston University game. First and 10 at the Delaware 45-yard line. One of the few first downs that they've had in the second period. Maine leads UMass 9-7 at the half. Back to throw. Here's pressure and a sack by Delaware on quarterback Mike Cook. Back at the 43-yard line. And players are falling all over the place.
Looks like Hondru might have been the guy who was responsible initially for that sack. Let's see if we can see it again. Cook is in the pocket. Here comes the Delaware pressure. That is Hondru. Yeah,
Hondru is a guy that got him, and then all kinds of help. And it's going to be second down now. And 22, a loss of 12 on the play. Hamrick, the fullback, is split wide left. And Partlow to the right with Whipple in the slot. And here's a handoff. It goes to Porch. Porch, nothing much up the middle, maybe a yard to the 44-yard line. And on the tackle is Mark Hondru again, and looks like we're going to have a timeout called by Delaware because they will have an opportunity to get the ball back. 1:53 remaining in the second period. No score at the half in that old Patriot League. Lehigh and Bucknell, no score. We know that Lafayette today is playing Army. Now, of course, that's a Patriot League basketball game, but Army is not in the Patriot League for football purposes. But they will be playing the Cadets of West Point, Bill. And how are the Leopards' opportunity in that one?
You're expecting me to make some sort of a comment to defend the Leopards this year. You know, they're
3-3, I believe.
There's a Lafayette Alumni Association in Delaware,
that
and
listens,
they're going to be after your hide.
Or your leopard skin, perhaps.
Yeah, that might be it, too.
Now, the Lafayette Leopards taking on an undefeated Army team. Now, Navy lost today, only their second loss of the year. Air Force has lost just once, and Army has not lost at all. And I'll tell you, this is the best year for the 3 service academies in many a year. It is third down and about 20 to go at the 45-yard line of William & Mary. Delaware hoping to get the ball back and do something with it. They haven't done anything all half. Back to throw Cook. He's looking, and he's pulled down by Hondrew at the 34-yard line. A flag just behind the line of scrimmage. And Hondrew gets in for another sack, his second straight. And it's going to be against William & Mary. And Delaware, of course, will decline the penalty. It's a hold. I'll tell you, Hondrew got blocked, got up, came in, makes the tackle, and the mole man would not be denied for 2 straight plays.
Right, I'll tell you, he must have heard me say something about him being outgamed or outweighed a little bit earlier, because he has played a tremendous second quarter. William & Mary has not been able to penetrate any further in this quarter than the Delaware 44-yard line.
Well, it's been a tremendous defensive battle by both teams, with the exception of that long run by Porch, which set up the only touchdown of the game. This has been a defensive struggle. Conti will receive for Delaware, and Shawcross the punter. We've got 1:29 left in the half. Here comes the pressure, and they don't get it. Here's a wobbly punt, bouncing at the 41, down to the 35-yard line, and that's where it will be down, and Delaware to take over at their own 35-yard line. So the Hens, with 1 minute and 18 seconds left to do something with the football, they've not been able really to get close to the end zone at all this afternoon.
Right. Well, you know, perception is one thing, reality another. We perceive that Delaware has not been able to do much on offense. That's true. But here in the second quarter, neither has William & Mary. Defensive battle. You've got it, Don, and that's what it's been so far in that quarter.
Conti to the right, Batts to the left, and straight back to throw is Leo Hamlet. He's got time, gets rid of the ball to Batts, who comes back and slides down to make the catch right near first down territory. I think they're going to have to measure near the 45-yard line. Now they got a check on it. Now they called it. Did they call it a first down? Yes. Well, yeah, they did. They called it a first down, and that's going to stop the clock while they advance the chains. Now 1 minute remaining first half. Hamlet over center. He goes back to throw again. Sideline pass. It goes to Batts, and he can't hang on. And every one of Leo's passes is below the knees on those sideline passes.
The sideline passes. Anything post or flag is over the head of Conti. So Leo, you can't say he's been having a very good day in his passing. Of course, he's got the heat on him and the pressure, but he still has enough time on that short drop to get those passes out in the flat.
Everything has been short on the little out patterns all afternoon. Second down 10 at the 45. And Hamlet goes back to throw again. He plants, slips, now gets rid of the ball. Sideline pass goes to Conti. It's incomplete. Coverage by Harrison down the sideline, and that was excellent coverage by Ron Harrison of William & Mary.
I mean, at times Hamlet really is telegraphing what he's going to do. He stands back there that time after rolling out, points downfield, and then waves for Conti to mow. Well, everybody knows he's going to throw it to Conti, so the coverage is right on top of him.
Now it's third down and 10 now. We have 47 seconds remaining first half, and Delaware just trying to get somewhere. Northeastern leading JMU at the half, 10-0, as we update you in the Concord Pets College football scoreboard. Here's Hamlet on the throw over the head of Conti, and he is drilled after the ball goes over his head. It falls to the ground incomplete. Sharper with a chance to pick it off, but couldn't do it, and it's fourth down now for Delaware. We have an injury for the Tribe of William & Mary. That's one of the players that kind of collided for the Tribe in coverage out there. That's Harrison, and he's really done a nice job in coverage for William & Mary so far today.
Oh, I had pointed out earlier that last year in the William & Mary game, Hamlet had his best passing game of the year. It was 13 of 25, 231 yards, 3 touchdowns, all of them to Eddie Conti. So far in this ball game, nothing has happened in that Conti long pass reception route between he and Hamlet. And you got the feeling that if Hamlet can get his sights set a little bit lower in some of those long post patterns, this ball game could be entirely different.
Well, it's 4th down, and Scott White is in to kick. Sharper back at his own 13-yard line, and Scott would like to get a boomer off here. 41 seconds left in the first half. Harrison walked off the field on his own power for William & Mary. Long count by Delaware. Good snap. And here's the kick. It's wobbly. It's going to bounce. Sharper lets it bounce, and it rolls inside the 10-yard line. It's going to roll dead at the 7. And that's where William & Mary will be backed up. That's a 48-yarder by Scott White, and it's at the 7-yard line. That's where the Tribe will take over. They have 29 seconds left in the first half. Let's see if they just run this one out and go into the locker room content with a 7-0 lead. Chilly day here at Williamsburg, Virginia, and staying overcast. They said there was a chance we could see some sun this afternoon. So far, it hasn't materialized. Looks to me like they're going to kneel down on the football as everybody is in tight. They're going to run it up the middle. That's Cook as the line surges forward, gets about 3 out to the 10-yard line as the clock continues to run. And the clock down to 15 seconds. Nobody's going to stop it. Both teams content to let it end the way it is. And that will be the last play of this first half. And we have come to the end of the first half. Not a particularly good for the Blue Hens, although defensively they hang in there at the end of the first half. The score, William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. He is the deep man. This one, though, is going to come down a little bit short to Beverly at the 15, out to the 20, 25, still on his feet, and he is wrapped up at the 35-yard line as Beverly hit the hole quickly. Darrell Green in on the tackle along with Darrell George, and that's where William & Mary will take over as they start the second half. Mike Cook, the quarterback, was 8 of 14 in that first half. Touchdown and an interception. Leo Hamlet threw 23 times in the first half. The Delaware record for one game is 45. So he's on pace for that if he keeps throwing at that pace. First and 10, William & Mary at their own 35 as we start the third quarter. And here's the handoff. It goes to Porch. He's got room out to the 40. Breaks the tackle to the 45 to the 48-yard line. And that's where he's brought down. Jamie Bell, Darrell Green, and Kenny Bailey all out there to bring him down actually almost to the 49-yard line. And that's a first down, a gain of 14 yards on the first down play.
Jimmy Laycock, the coach of William & Mary, decides, hey, we're going to try that same play again. Send Porch off the right side, and there he goes. Finds the big hole, and he's the man who did it in the first half.
Amazing how much they got, the defensive line got sucked to the outside. Here's the first down play at the 49-yard line for William & Mary, and here's another handoff to Porch. He goes to the left side, gets a couple across the 50, down to the 48-yard line. Josh Mastrangelo making the tackle for the Blue Hens. He's been in a lot of tackles today. It's down to the 47. That's a gain of 4 yards on the play. Second down, 6. A lot of people, it seems like, in front of us have headed for warmer climes. And I'll tell you what, a lot of people have decided maybe not to come back for the second half, or else they're still getting their Papa John's pizza, and the line may be long. Second down, 6 at the 47 of Delaware. Mike Cook over center, and he's going to slip the ball to Porch again to the 45, 40, first down to the 39-yard line. Hume, Koshelski, and Gardner making the tackle for Delaware, but I'm telling you, Bill, he is finding a lot of room off tackle today.
He is, and not only that, But those offensive linemen are getting out of there off the ball, and they're taking out the Delaware linebackers. The linebackers have not been doing the same kind of job that Delaware is used to seeing. Smith, for instance, and Gardner and Hume, they're just not doing that same kind of a job because of that offensive line.
First drive that William & Mary's had since the first period. 1st and 10 at the Delaware 39. Whipple in motion. And here is another handoff. It goes to Porch, who spins around and is thrown for a loss at the 40 by Mark Hondrew.
Yeah, you can get Hondrew out of a play 2 or 3 times, but he'll come back and get you just as many times as he did with 2 consecutive sacks there in the second quarter.
And he really was able to shed the block. Porch tried to make a quick spin. He saw Hondrew coming in, and Hondrew got him with the shoulder, and it's 2nd down 11 at the 40. Cook over center, and he's going to drop back to throw. Looking left, takes time, got plenty of time, now dumps it off, picked off by Brian Smith. One official said yes, and he was ruled off by another official behind him, and 2 out of the 3 say no, so Brian Smith doesn't get credited for the pick. I thought maybe he had it.
That would have been a spectacular play. It was anyhow, even though they ruled that he didn't get it. You'll see Smith make a dive for this throw by Cook, and it's hard to tell whether or not he made it.
When what makes it equally hard is the fact that the official that asserted the authority on that had the same angle we had to the back, and the ball was concealed. The official looking straight on ruled it an interception, but was then overruled. 3rd down and 11 at the 40-yard line for William & Mary. And back to throw. Here comes the blitz. The pass down the field, overthrown for Whipple in one-on-one coverage with Kenny Bailey down at the 20-yard line. And that was a pass to get rid of it with a blitz, but he couldn't make connections. So Shawcross comes on to kick as the Delaware defense holds. And Conti will be back around his own 10-yard line. So these punters have been getting a real workout this afternoon here at Zabel Stadium. Shawcross in his own territory at the William & Mary 46 to kick. Gets a snap, kicks it right from the 50. It's a spiral. Conti is going to make the grab at the 16, and that's where he's brought down, in fact, back at the 15-yard line. There is a break in the action, a United water break with the score, William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. Blue Hens really relatively deep in their own territory to start this series. In motion is Norm Coleman. Here's a handoff, goes to Thompson. He's across the 20 out to the 24-yard line, short of the first down by a yard or less. Near the 25, as a matter of fact. It'll be 3rd down and less than a yard for the Blue Hens. Good run by Andre Thompson as Delaware's trying to get into positive yardage in the running game. So they bring in the double tight end situation. Here comes both Vanker Coven and Chuck Blessing into the lineup for Delaware. 11:15 remaining, 3rd quarter. The ball just shy of the 25. Double tight end situation for Delaware. Hamlet is going to run the option. He's got the first down across the 25 to the 30-yard line. Pickup of more than 5 on the play. Sharper makes the tackle, and he's in there along with David Adams. So Leo gets a little more than 5 on the play. It'll be 1st and 10 right at the 30-yard line.
Big Chris Nacco, right tackle on the play, just made the wedge wide enough for Leo to skip through there. So the drive continues.
Nacco, of course, a first-team All-Stater in Pennsylvania as a senior out of Archbishop Bryan. 1st and 10. Here is the option again by Hamlet. He's picking his way, flips it back to Key, who drops the ball. It goes out of bounds. No, it's picked up on the sideline by William & Mary. They recover the fumble, and William & Mary has it at the Delaware 40-yard line. Key bobbled the ball. It was a very nonchalant flip. I'm not even sure John Key was expecting it, but he should have had the ball. Fumbles it, and the ball belongs to William & Mary inside the 40-yard line. Boy, Leo was stumbling, flipped it. It really went forward, and then he just bobbled the ball. I thought it went out of bounds, but no, it was not. And now the Tribes got it inside the 40.
Boy, mistakes are killing Delaware.
Here's a handoff to Porch, a yard or so down to the 38-yard line. Mastrangelo in on the tackle along with Jim Egan. That's a 2-yard pickup, and it'll be 2nd down 8.
This is a game you figure big plays and turnovers are going to be instrumental, more so than in a lot of games, and Delaware already has had 3 turnovers.
Well, so far nobody has capitalized on any turnovers, but the Tribe did come up with one big play of the game, and that was a long run by Alvin Porch. He is the lone setback behind Mike Cook, the quarterback. Cook's only a sophomore, so they've got him a couple of more years. Here's a handoff to Porch again, skips to the outside inside the 35 to the 34 to the 33-yard line, and we've got a William & Mary injury.
That Porch is as good a cutback runner as you want to see, and that's where he's picking up his yardage. He'll hit the hole, cut back quickly, and he is very close to another first down on that play.
That's the center, Brian Sorrell, down with an injury, and they're attending to him out at the 36-yard line. So it's going to be a third down situation and 3, the ball at the 33-yard line. And tell you, when you know, it's one thing to lose a lineman. When you lose a center, that's a key problem a lot of times.
Yeah.
So we've got an injury out on the field. 9:47 remaining, a timeout on the field. The PNC Bank timeout score: William & Mary 7 and Delaware nothing. They're going to get him over to the sideline, and now we're ready to resume play on a third down and 3 at the Delaware 33-yard line. Big play now for the Tribe of William & Mary. Whipple goes in motion. And here is a handoff again. It goes to Porch, and Porch is stacked up and doesn't get the first down at the 31-yard line. Gardner and Kenny Bailey slicing in to make the tackle. And actually they'll spot it at the 32. It's 2 yards shy of a first. 4th down and 2. And what will Jimmy Laycock do here? He is sending in another tight end. And that other tight end is Scott Osborne. 4th down and 2 at the Delaware 32-yard line. Double tight end situation. Whipple and Hamrick at fullback. He is on the wing right. In motion, Whipple. Handoff goes to Porch again. Nothing doing at the 32-yard line. Bailey comes in to make the tackle, and Delaware holds on 4th down.
Boy, I'll tell you, you can't ask for much more than that for the Delaware defense. Jimmy Laycock obviously wanted to take advantage of that miscue by Delaware a little while ago, but Delaware says nothing doing. And Kenny Bailey just makes a hard stop right there, and Delaware gets the ball back.
Bailey just kind of broke through a little crease in the blocking and really wasn't touched as he came through on the right side of the William & Mary line, made the tackle. So it'll be 1st and 10 Delaware at their own 32-yard line. Still haven't scored yet today. Here goes the option play, and Hamlet will lose a yard or 2. Back at the 31-yard line, he tried to turn it up the field after faking to Andre Thompson, his fullback, and the line just not giving him any room to run the football. It'll be at the 32. It'll be 2nd down, loss of about half a yard. 8:30 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Now the Blue Hens at 7-1. Of course, you're thinking about the playoffs, and with Navy coming up next week, tough schedule to go. Here's Hamlet going to throw the football. There's Conti at the 40, cuts back to the 45, run out of bounds just shy of the 45-yard line. That's a 1st down for the Blue Hens. Eddie Conti making a nice grab on the sidelines, a little turnout play, and then turned it up the field. It gets 13 yards. Ball will be spotted with the nose touching, just about touching the 45-yard line. And of course the clock is stopped as he went out of bounds. 8:11 left, 3rd quarter. Delaware's got to get something going, but it's still a 7-0 game. Bats left, Conti right. In motion is Greg McGraw. Handoff Thompson. Big hole, 50, 46-yard line of William & Mary, and Sharper and Jude Waddy bring him down. That's a gain of 9 or 9.5 yards. And it'll come up just a little shy of the 1st down by a little more than half a yard. That's the longest run of the day for Andre Thompson, and I believe about the 2nd longest run of the day overall.
Yeah, his buddies Knocko and Flanagan on the right side made the hole for him that time. 2nd
down and about a half a yard for a 1st. Here's Hamlet. He's going to run the option again, and nothing doing again. And that just is not working today. In fact, he may have lost half a yard. I don't know if he got quite back to the 46-yard line. So now they've got a 3rd down and a full yard to go.
You're right, Don. The option has not worked in more ways than one. When Leo keeps, it doesn't work. when he pitches out, he either threw it over somebody's head, as he did with Coleman, and of course the last possession on the fumble by Key. So something else has got to work for them in the running game.
So it's third down now, and about a yard to go at the 46-yard line. He's going to keep on the quarterback sneak, and we'll see where they spot it, but I think he may have the first down. Let's see where they unpile the bodies. Where that ball is, that's a first down. That is a first down, Delaware at the 45-yard line, and the Hens get a new set of downs.
This is an opportunity for Delaware. We expect to see Hamlet now try once again to hit Conti or maybe Batts on one of those deep patterns. He's got Conti in, but Batts is on the sideline.
6:55 left, third quarter for Delaware, down 7-0. Hamlet drops the snap. It's loose. William and Mary has it. The fumble recovery on the drop snap from center, Tom Talafero, coming up with a football. I'll check it. That was not Talafero. That was Giamo, Brian Giamo. And Delaware squandering an opportunity. It's 1st and 10, William and Mary at their own 46-yard line. How many? Got 4 turnovers for Delaware on the afternoon?
2 and 2, intercept, fumble.
2 fumbles, 2 interceptions. And William and Mary with the football. Conklin wide left. New center snapping to Cook. Goes back, swing pass, it goes out the porch to the 50, into Delaware territory, knocked out of bounds at about the 49-yard line. Ball was knocked loose, but William and Mary retains possession. Actually, it's shy of the 50 at about the William and Mary 49-yard line. So only a gain of about 2.5 yards or so on the play. 6:39 to play in this third period, and Delaware has been unable to crack the end zone. And when they were shut out earlier this year, 27-0, was the first time in about 15 years they had been shut out. Now they're looking at the possibility of 2 times in one season. At the 49-yard line, 2nd down and 7. Here's a handoff. It goes to Porch again to the 50, to the 49-yard line. He pulls forward with Brian Smith draped around him. Gets a couple of yards on that play, and it's 3rd down and 5.
Oh, to give you an idea what the kicking game has done outside of the punting, only William and Mary has been within field goal range, and they missed that in the first quarter. Delaware hasn't been able to move the ball into field goal range to do anything, to even get away from that possibility of a blanking.
It's at the 49 of Delaware, 3rd down and 5 for William and Mary. In motion is Hamrick, the fullback. And Cook goes back to throw on 3rd down. There's the pass. He's got his man Whipple. Complete. It's short of the first down. He was initially hit at the 45-yard line and driven back. They'll spot it actually at about the 46. It'll come up 2 yards shy of the first down. And that'll bring on Shawcross for yet another punt in this football game.
Well, they're adding up.
The only reason they have not had to punt on some of those is because of turnovers.
Yep.
So Shawcross to kick. And Eddie Conti back to receive for Delaware. The Hens could really use a breakaway punt return right about now. Here's a snap to Shawcross. They did not go for the block. The punt is a spiral, and Conti calls for a fair catch at the 15. There's a timeout on the field. 5:11 to play in the third. The PNC Bank timeout score, William and Mary 7 and Delaware territory to start this drive, as they have been so often in this football game. Hamlet over center. He'll hand the ball off to Coleman. Coleman out to the 20, to the 22-yard line. He is upended at the 22-yard line on a nice run. Little off tackle jaunt by Norman Coleman. And Sharper in on the tackle. Sharper leads the team with 5 interceptions, but he also makes a lot of tackles. He's got 75 on the year coming into this game. That's a gain of about 6 yards of the play. It'll be 2nd down and 4 at the 22. In motion is Coleman. Here's a handoff. Thompson. Thompson has got a first down, 30, out to the 32-yard line. Andre Thompson out to the 32. So little cracks are starting to show here, Bill, in the defense of the tribe of William and Mary. If they can capitalize on that, They get on the scoreboard, but they've got a long way to go. They're only at the 32.
Well, two good rushes in a row, and on both times, the big guy from Binghamton, New York, Chris Kumpan, has been instrumental in opening the hole.
He's on that left side of the line along with veteran Lynn Pine. There's the first down play. Hamlet back to throw, gets rid of the football down the sideline, and it is intercepted but out of bounds. Intercepted on the play, but unable to keep his feet in bounds was Ron Harrison, and that ball was had no chance of being completed from the get-go.
Matter of fact, Leo looked like he threw it off the wrong foot for one thing and was forcing the ball.
So it'll be second down and 10. The ball at the Delaware 32.
On the clock, 4:05 remaining in this third period. Bats goes wide left. Conti out of the game. They've got the tight end. Strong side is to the right. That is Chuck Blessing at tight end. And back to throw. Hamlet looks left. Now looks right. Here's Guy Coleman out at the 35. Cuts it up the field to the 40-yard line. And he's a couple of shy of the first down. An 8-yard pickup by Norman Coleman. Coleman did a good job of checking where he was and then making the proper move upfield. So it's an 8-yard gain. It'll be third down and 2 right at the 40. Delaware's been moving the ball to some degree, but not consistently. Third down 2 right at the 40. Hamlet over center. Hands the ball off. Thompson, nothing doing at the 40. He is stacked up at the line of scrimmage at the 40-yard line, and that's going to bring on Scott White once again on fourth down to kick the ball away. No gain on the play, maybe a half a yard at best, and Delaware again will have to give up the football.
Tough defense there by William and Mary. Both teams with super defenses. We told you earlier, they're both only yielding about 80 yards per game, rushing.
White to kick, Sharper to receive for William and Mary. This William and Mary defense is exceptional. Snap a little bit low. Gets it. High punt. Spiraling. Gonna bounce. Not too much, though, and be down at the 29-yard line. There's a timeout on the field. 2:35 left in the third quarter with a score. William and Mary, they have a 7-0 lead and have held that since the very early moments of this football game. Cook to center. Long count by William and Mary. Goes back to throw, rolling left, looking, gets rid of the football, down to Whipple. He's got it at the 45, run out of bounds at the Delaware 36-yard line as he beat Kenny Bailey down the sideline. And a beautifully thrown ball by Mike Cook.
Delaware secondary has played man defense almost the entire game, and that time Whipple did a nice job getting behind one of Delaware's better defenders, Kenny Bailey.
And he kind of threw that on the run. That was nicely thrown. And he gets it down to the 36 of Delaware. First and 10 for the Tribe of William and Mary. And here goes Porch. He's going to run it to the 35, and that's about it. Just inside the 35 is where Hyman hits him. And also Jeff Gardner. Right now, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Blue Hen Football Network.
This is Suburban Cable, Channel 2, serving Newcastle County.
Second down and a short 9. Just inside the 35-yard line for William and Mary. Here is the option down the line now. Fake, throw down the field. There's Conklin. It is incomplete. Coverage down the field by Dale Koszelski. Great coverage by the free safety Koszelski, as he was right on Conklin at the goal line.
Yeah, that was a great defensive play, and Delaware's secondary again comes up big. In that first half, they seem to be playing a little soft, but this man coverage so far from that time on, middle of the first quarter, has been exceptional.
That coverage by Koszelski, who stands 6'1", was really, really fine. The ball at the 34-yard line, third down, and a long 8. Cook has his receivers all to the right. He goes back to throw. He's looking that way, gets rid of the football, out pattern. Conklin wide open at the 16, run out of bounds inside the 10-yard line at the 9. David Conklin was wide open on a pass toward the sideline, And Delaware with its back to the wall now. That was a 25-yard pickup on the pass play. It'll be 1st and goal from the 9-yard line for the Tribe of William and Mary.
Well, Bill, with the lack of success by the offense, this is critical that the defense hold them out here.
Yes, it is. That wasn't a particularly great route, but he just got himself wide open, Conklin.
First down play. In motion is Whipple. And the handoff goes to Porch. He's got an opening. He's down to the 7 to the 6-yard line, and that's where he is brought down by several Delaware defenders. Coming out of there is Hondru and Koscielski. And on the bottom of that pileup is Darrell Green.
It's only the 2nd time in the game that William and Mary has been in Delaware's red zone inside the 20. Delaware has not been able to reciprocate with their offense, however.
Now the ball is outside the 6, 2nd and goal. They'll call it a 6-yard position for the Tribe. Looking to score their 2nd touchdown of the day. As we're late in the 3rd quarter, back to throw. There's Cook. Gets rid of the football. It is intercepted by Bailey in the end zone. He's going to run it out, and he only goes to the 5-yard line, and that's where he's brought down. A mistake by Bailey in running it out, but he does pick the ball off in the end zone. With 51 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, he gets it out to the 6-yard line, it looks like. And boy, he should have just taken the knee right there.
I think Bailey had a mental blackout that time. He must have lost all perception of where he was on the field to try and run it out after intercepting in the end zone.
And actually was grabbed in the end zone, was almost brought down there, but he carried Whipple to the 6.
Well, let's take what we can get, is what Delaware is saying. We've got the ball.
Well, that was a great pickoff by Bailey. Delaware at the 6. Here goes the handoff up the middle. Not much for Andre Thompson. About a yard or so. Fullback on the belly play. Gets a yard out to the 7-yard line. Clock running with 37 seconds left, 3rd quarter. And hats off to the Delaware defense for once again holding this William and Mary offense. But they've got to get the offense in position to score. Bailey probably had visions of running it back 103 yards for a touchdown.
You think so, huh?
Here's Hamlin. Hand off to Coleman. Out across the 10 to about the 12-yard line. We're down to 12 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. That'll be short of the 1st down, and that's going to be the last play of the 3rd period. Clock running down, and we have now come to the end of 3 quarters with the score. The Tribe of William and Mary 7 and the University of Delaware nothing. We still have yet to get on the scoreboard. 3rd and 3, Hamlet back. Little quick pass. It goes to Coleman. 20, 25, still on his feet. Out to the 29-yard line. 1st down, Delaware. Sharper making the tackle. 17-yard pickup. Along with him, Kendrick Ashton helping to make that stop. It's out to the 29-yard line.
Nice pass as Coleman just made that little look-in move. One of the few times that Hamlet has thrown to a back. Not only this game, but this year.
1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line, and wide right is Eddie Conti. Delaware with the football. And off to Thompson. He's out to the 35 to the 39-yard line. Almost 10 on 1st down, and it may be the full 10 as Stefan Moody makes the tackle. They'll spot it right at the 39. Let's see, it is a 1st down. They signal the 1st down without measuring, and the Blue Hens are starting to move the football a little bit on the ground, Bill, here in the latter part of the 3rd quarter and the beginning of the 4th.
Yeah, that's a good move. Delaware's been able to do that a couple of times, and now they've got to keep their hands on the ball firmly. Pass reception or running. Turnovers have hurt them badly so far.
Bats is split to the short side of the field. Conti to the wide side of the field, and Hamlet is going to hand it right off up the middle, and it is a couple of yard gain to the 41-yard line or so as he skirts then to the outside, and that's Norm Coleman for a couple. It'll be a 2nd down at about 8. Let's check the Concord Pets College football scoreboard update. Northeastern late in the game leading James Madison 17-7. Villanova has a 24-14 lead over the Rhode Island Rams. Now that was 17-14 at the half, so Villanova has scored a 2nd half touchdown. 2nd down and 8. Ball near the 42-yard line. Here's Hamlet back, rolling right to throw. He's got trouble, gets rid of the football. There's Blessing down the field, incomplete, and a penalty thrown on the play. A flag thrown as Blessing was being ridden down at the 25-yard line. And I think that was a pretty good play. That guy was all over his back. That was Ashton, the left cornerback. And Blessing, I don't know if he had a chance to catch that. He was running out of gas down at the 35-yard line, or 25-yard line, I guess it was.
Well, let's see how they call this one as Leo eludes some pressure there, releases long, and let's see what Blessing does here. Oh, he is knocked out of the play there. I don't know whether he could have caught that. It might be called uncatchable, but nonetheless, there was interference on the play.
That's going to be a penalty on the tribe of William & Mary. That'll give Delaware a first down into William & Mary territory at the 43-yard line. Crowd, of course, we are on the William & Mary side of the field. You may hear their displeasure at that call. I'll tell you, the Delaware crowd on the other side has been rather quiet all game, although there is a good-sized contingent. First and 10 Delaware at the 43 of William & Mary. Hand off to Thompson. Gets a couple as he squirts off right tackle to the 41, maybe to the 40-yard line. And it'll be a gain of about 3 yards, a little less than 3. Second down 7.
Been a good move by Delaware. After the interception by Bailey, they started at their 6. They might have been a lot further if he had not run the ball out and started at the 20, but nonetheless, Delaware is moving the ball.
Kenny Bailey came up with a big interception in the end zone after they'd moved down to 1st and goal at the 40, 2nd and 7. Here's Hamlin. There's the counter play. It goes to Coleman. 40, 35 to the 32-yard line, and he is thrown down by Harrison on a great defensive play. He just could not elude Ron Harrison at all at the 32, but it's a first down for the Blue Hens.
Kumpan was out there, and he's berating himself either for not making the block or for the fact that Coleman was unable to move around him and come further to the outside.
He was trying to make the block, and Harrison jumped to the inside and eluded as Kumpan made the block attempt, and he didn't make contact with Ron Harrison, who made a nice defensive play. At the 32, William & Mary. Delaware's got the ball, 1st and 10. And here is Hamlet. Fakes, throws the football down the field. There's Conti. Touchdown, Delaware. Eddie Conti on a 32-yard touchdown pass. Beautifully thrown by Leo Hamlet.
And he beat William & Mary's top defender, the free safety, Sharper. You know, you had the feeling someplace along the line, somebody must have, that these two guys were going to hook up on that post pattern sooner or later. Now let's see, are they going to try? No, they're going to go tie it.
Now,
remember, all games in college football will never again, unless they change the rules, end in a tie at regulation.
Now the burden now on Sean Leach as he will try the extra point out of the hold of Brian Ginn from Yorktown, Virginia, right around these parts. Here's a snap. Kick is up, and the kick's got the leg, and it is good. So there's a timeout of the field. 12-19 remaining in this football game. And the score is Delaware 7 and William & Mary 7. It was just a matter of had Eddie held on to the ball. But I'll tell you, the official looked long and hard, but I mean, he took about 5 steps in the end zone before he fell down. And it was clear that he did have the football. Here's the kickoff by Leach. It's going to come down to Beverly at the 10, out to the 20. He's still on his feet at the 25-yard line, and that's where he is snowed under by the Delaware kickoff team. So good coverage by Delaware, and that's where William & Mary will take over. So now the defense called upon to hold this Tribe offense, which has scored on its first possession and been shut out since. And the crowd here at Zabel Stadium on its feet. We're at 12-12 in the 4th quarter and tied at 7. Mike Cook over center for William & Mary. He goes back to throw, now slips the ball off the Porch, a hole, gets it out to the 30 to the 31-yard line, and Porch is a hard little runner to bring down.
Oh, he was hit twice when he got through the line of scrimmage before he was really brought down.
And a little bit of post-tackle discussion out there by the two teams. Now they get that under control. That's a gain of 6 on the play, out to the 31. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Partlow Michael Partlow splits wide right. He is a twin of the backup quarterback. And in the slot right is Whipple. And here's a handoff again to Porch. Porch spun around at the 33-yard line. And boy, I thought he was going to get more, but I'll tell you, he was spun around like a top on that play and dropped as Brian Smith is in there on the tackle. Gain of 2.
And as the game goes on, it seems the hitting gets more intense, Don. The Delaware defense is really racking up these ball carriers. They're hitting hard.
25 carries, 164 yards for Alvin Porch. Just shy of the 34, so it's 3rd down and a long yard. Big play for the Tribe right here. Cook over center, the double tight end situation to get that extra blocking in there. Here's a handoff. It goes to Porch. He's not even close to the first down. He is stopped at the 33-yard line. Delaware came with everybody on that defensive surge, and William and Mary will have to kick the football.
That was an absolutely fantastic stop by Delaware, the entire defense. Everybody wanted a piece of the ball carrier. Look at that. Everybody's in there. All 11 guys.
And Shawcross will kick. Conte will receive at his own 31-yard line. Shawcross standing at his own 20. Wind not much of a factor right now. Snap's a good one. No rush. The punt is low. It's a spiral. Conte fields it over his shoulder to the 26. He goes deep, loses the ball. Delaware falls on it. The Hens fall on it at the 27. There's a timeout on the field. 9:57 remaining in the game. The PNC Bank timeout score, Delaware 7. 1st and 10. McGraw in at halfback along with Coleman. Thompson the fullback. Bats wide right on this 1st down play. Handoff inside goes to Coleman. He is tripped up, maybe a yard gain out to the 28-yard line. Stefan Moody comes in from his linebacker position, one of the 3 captains for William and Mary to make the tackle.
They're very, very difficult to trap. Delaware's trapping game by the linemen has not been able to fool the William and Mary defensive line. They are so tough, probably the best that Delaware's seen this year.
It's 2nd down, maybe a half a yard gain on that at best. Now they've got Batts and Conte both wide. Here is a handoff. It goes, and there's a flag thrown. And I believe Thompson carried the ball. I believe Delaware's left halfback moved too soon, and he did. So an illegal motion call against Delaware, and that's going to be, one would presume, walked off, although it was really no gain on that play. That would make it 3rd and 10. If you're Jimmy Laycock, you might say, nah. 9:21 to play. They may just let it go, and I think they may decline the penalty. I guess they declined it. Yeah, it is. Declined. No gain on the play by Thompson out to the 28, and it's 3rd down and 9 to go. Crowd on its feet, urging its defense, one of the best in the Yankee Conference, to put a stop to this Delaware drive in 3 plays. Hamlet goes back to throw. Here comes the blitz. Passes out. It goes to Batts. Great catch. Run out of bounds. Maybe short of the 1st down. At the 37-yard line, he was driven out hard, and I think they're going to come up shy of the 1st by maybe a half a yard or so.
Yeah, he took the lead edge of the yard chain marker right out with him. So we'll see where they spot this thing. He just drove it right out of bounds as he makes the catch, but it looked like he was short by maybe a yard.
Great hit by Sean McDermott, and they do stop him short. And so Delaware will have to kick the football. 9:03 to play. We're tied at 7 in Williamsburg, Virginia. An overcast, cold day here with the crowd bundled up against the elements. And it's been a defensive struggle the whole game. Teams just looking for the break to get the lead. White is back to kick. Here's the snap. Here they come after him. He gets it away. It's a high spiral. It's going to come down short. Fair catch called by Sharper at the 36-yard line. And that's where William and Mary will take over. A 29-yard kick. No return by the Tribe. And in passing this year, Whipple to the right and Conklin to the left. We haven't seen Billy Common since the early part of this football game. He was a starter. There goes the handoff. Up fake. There's a pass down the field. A Whipple over his head. Boy, I'll tell you, talk about carrying out the fake. Alvin Porch made a great carry out of the fake, and then Cook sold it completely himself. but he overthrew Whipple about 40 yards downfield. Bell on the coverage. Ed, good coverage on him. Whipple, though, at 6'2", 215, if that ball's out there for him, can make the catch because he's got a height advantage.
William and Mary wanted it all on that play.
Now the ball at the 36, second down and 10. And now Partlow is wide right. Hamrick, the man in motion. And now here goes a handoff to Porch, and he has hit at the line of scrimmage. Brian Smith comes in to get him right at the line of scrimmage and maybe a half a yard shy of it. Brian Smith, one of the leading tacklers in the Yankee Conference. That may be a half a yard loss. And it'll be third down and 10, a little bit more than 10 yards to go.
Also helping out, as he does on almost every play, Mark Hondrew. This was his 43rd consecutive start today since he was a freshman here at the University of Delaware. Talk about tenacity and tenure, huh?
Hey, he's one of the smallest defensive linemen you'll see. Barely 6 feet tall, if that. Back to throw on third down and 10. Here comes the pressure. Here's the pass to the sideline and overthrown as Whipple turned it out. And the pass was thrown for a pattern farther down the field. It'll be fourth down. The Delaware defense is held again. Can't say enough, Bill, about the Delaware defense time and time again. And fortunately for them, the Blue Hens offense came up with a big play when they needed it and got them into a tie. 8:02 to play. Shawcross back to kick. And here's the snap. Here comes the pressure. Kick is away. It's going to bounce at the 30. Conti will let it go to the sidelines, and it goes out of bounds. And that's where a chance maybe to kick a field goal if they can't get the touchdown. Here's McGraw in motion. Back. Here's a handoff on the counter. It goes to Coleman, and he's got maybe a yard out to the 28, but I don't know. He may not have even gotten that. They're going to spot it closer to the 27. That's at best a half a yard gain. You know, you don't want to be too fancy with the ball. You're still in your own territory, but you got to get some yards. And this William & Mary defense has been consistently outstanding. Second down and 9 for Delaware. Back to throw. Hamlet looks left. There's the pass that goes out the bats. 35. Run out of bounds at the 41, 42 yard line. First down, Delaware.
Well, that's the play that will enable them to move the ball down to within field goal kicking range to the sideline, almost unopposed. When you get somebody out there, you just can't defend the ball.
No, what they don't want to do, and William & Mary's doing this, is playing off so that they don't let them get beat beyond, as they did with Eddie Conti earlier in this quarter. But this one was a little out pattern. He was playing soft on him, and Harrison came up to make the tackle. First and 10, 41 yard line, Delaware. Here is a handoff to Thompson. Thompson 45, and that's where he is stopped. Little off tackle slip by Andre Thompson. Sharper making the tackle along with Ashton. And that's a gain on the play of about 4. It'll be second down and 6.
Now the key to the entire game right now is whether Delaware can continue to drive the ball either on the ground, in the air, both, to get it down within field goal range.
Ball's just beyond the 45 yard line. Here's a handoff to McGraw, and not much at all, maybe half a yard as he tries to push it to the 46 yard line, but that green shirted William & Mary defense all over him. They'll spot it. Yeah, maybe a length of the football gain, if that at all. I mean, it's third down. It's still about 6 to go.
Take a look at McGraw in the huddle. He looks like a little boy among the men, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is about 5. They list him 5'8", but he says he's more like 5'5". Third down. Movement on the part of Delaware. They went too soon. That's going to be a 5-yard walk-off, and Hamlet upset by the jump on the part of his mates. So that'll put them in unenviable position now. Third down and about 12. So this changes the complexion of things, although probably a passing situation no matter what. But your passing route becomes different at this point. Back to throw, straight back is Hamlet. They come up the middle. Good blocking. There's a throw over the middle. It's intercepted by Moody. Tipped twice, 45, 50, still on his feet, to the 40-yard line, still on his feet. He's running wide to the 35, pulled down at the 29-yard line by Greg McGraw. It was bounced around twice. Not well thrown by Hamlet, behind Coleman. Sharper almost had it, and Stephon Moody comes up with a big interception.
Yeah, that was a ball that shouldn't have been thrown into that coverage. You can see downfield that it was thrown almost directly to one of the, that was Sharper.
Yeah, way over the head.
Off of him.
Way over the head of Coleman, off of Sharper's pads, and Moody comes up with the interception. Had a great run back, and now it's at the 29-yard line. 34 yards on the return by Stephon Moody, and it's 1st and 10 at the Delaware 29. Here's a handoff to Porch, 25, down to the 23, to the 22-yard line by Alvin Porch, and a good first down run by William & Mary on the tackle, Brian Smith and Kenny Bailey. 5:24 to go.
Boy, these turnovers by the offense are putting so much pressure on the defense, asking so much of them. And once again, they've got to come up with a big one here. We're in a tie at 7-7.
Ball at the 22-yard line, and that's a gain of 7. 2nd down, and about 4 to go. Gain of about 6. In motion is Whipple. Mike Cook, he'll hand off again. There's Porch inside the 20 to the 18-yard line, and it's near a first down. We'll see where they spot it. He's come up a little bit shy, I think. It's going to be 3rd down and about a half a yard or so for the Tribe.
Delaware's defense has done it time and time again today. More important maybe this drive than any other.
Yeah, because the time running out. 4:37 to play. It's tied at 7. 3rd down and 1. At the 18, there's a quarterback sneak as Cook tries to go over, and he reached the ball forward on a leap at the line of scrimmage, and he should have it. Boy, they're spotting it down to the 17. That was the biggest leap in history, and they're going to spot it way down at the 17-yard line. He got that one easily. Well, he went up there and laid the ball out. A Delaware player should have tried to knock that one loose if they'd seen it coming. They're going to measure that, but boy, it sure looks like he's got it by a decent amount. Now they stretch the chains out. Well, they beat it, made it by a length and a half or 2 lengths of the football. I'm not sure what they're looking at to measure that one, but that was an easy spot on that, and it's now 1st down, and the ball at the Delaware 17-yard line.
And of course, field goal range. If they can't continue and move this thing into the end zone, they've got a guy that can kick it from there, although he missed earlier in the game in the 1st quarter. Shawcross.
4:20 to play. Over center is Mike Cook. Cook drops the snap, gets it back, hands it off to Porch. He's inside the 15 to the 14-yard line, where Rob Hyman buries him at that point. But I'll tell you, Cook almost dropped the snap. It kind of popped up out of his hands a little bit, and he made the clean hand off to Porch. That's a gain of 3, 2nd down 7. 3:45 to play, and the bad thing now, Bill, is if they score here, Delaware will not be left with a whole lot of time. 2nd and 7 at the 14-yard line. Cook's going to fake to Porch. He's going to run it himself. He's down to the 10-yard line, to the 8-yard line. And near another William & Mary first down. We'll see where they spot it. Should be a little bit short, maybe 3rd down and about half a yard. That was kind of unexpected.
Yeah, but the fake is just great, though. I mean, Porch again carried it out as he had done earlier, and this time Cook almost got enough, but he's at the 8.
Ball at the 8. He's got to get it down near the 7. 3rd down. Less than a yard to go. Here's the sneak by Cook. Looks like he's got it down near the 7-yard line. And they'll unstack the pile. They'll stop the clock while they determine the positioning of the football. And it's probably a William & Mary first down. He didn't have to get a whole lot. They didn't get it. I would presume they'll bring on the kicker to get the 3. But they're going to bring in the chains now to measure this one, and a big measurement with 2:51 to play.
Well, their kicker, Shawcross, missed earlier in the ball game a 20-yarder.
It's short by inches, and now Jimmy Laycock with the decision here to kick what should be a sure thing, and that's what he's going to do. He's not going to try to push it in and get that first down and then make sure Delaware's got to score a touchdown. And we're seeing blue sky off to our left.
Belatedly, huh?
Starting to brighten here. Now this, remind you, Shawcross missed a 20-yarder earlier. This will be a 24-yard field goal attempt from the right hash mark. Ball spotted at the 14. Shawcross, here's a snap. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. It's wide left. There's a timeout of the field. 2:39 to play. The PNC Bank timeout score, Delaware 7 and William & Mary 7.
Kinds of field goal and kicking records at William & Mary and in the pros, but that was an easy chip shot.
First and 10, Delaware at their own 20. 2:39 to play. Hamlet back to throw. Swing pass that goes out to Thompson. 20, driven out of bounds at the 22 after a short gain of about 2 yards. On the tackle is Jude Waddy, the linebacker. So a couple of yard gain by Delaware on that play. Safe pass, little swing pass out of the backfield to the fullback. And that stops the clock with 2:32 to play. Bill, if you believe in a charmed life, Delaware, you ought to think Delaware's going to win this game with two missed chip shots like that by Shawcross. Here is the second down play. Pass goes out to Batts. He comes back and makes the catch at the 31-yard line. It's complete. I don't know why Jimmy Laycock saying that, or that's not Jimmy, it's one of the assistants, why he's saying it's no good. That was a nice reception by Courtney Batts as he went down to his knees to make the catch. Delaware first down at the 31.
Well, the problem there is for William & Mary defending against the low pass. Hadn't been good for Delaware, but that's where you got to throw it to avoid the intercept.
And Hamlet back to throw again. There's a pass out to the sideline, incomplete. It's short.
That's too low.
Intended for Conti on the right sideline, and that's an incomplete pass on first down. Well, if you're William & Mary's fans, you have to be beside yourself with two missed field goals by one of the better kickers in the Yankee Conference, Brian Shawcross.
Yeah, fate has funny ways of turning things around, and two easy chip shots missed.
Second down and 10. The ball at the 31-yard line for Delaware. Hamlet over center. And he'll go back to throw on the second down play. There's a little pass out to Conti. Nice grab. He goes out of bounds at the 41. It's going to be near the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it. 2:09 to play. He goes out of bounds, and that stops the clock. Looks like it's going to be third down and shy by maybe a yard. That was another one of those catches where Conti actually just turns his hands almost upside down to make the catch of the low throw while on the run.
Perfect fit with the ball and Conti's hands.
Really has a magical way of catching that kind of a pass. And mind you, he was a quarterback in high school. At the 41, third down and a yard, and Hamlet's going to sneak it forward. He's got a first down, I believe. And that'll move the change. We're down to 2:05 on the clock. They'll stop the clock as they unpile everybody and then check it and move the chains. It is a first down for Delaware.
Well, here comes Delaware's 2-minute drill now, and this is something they practice and practice. Let's see if they can pull it off.
And in 1995, Leo Hamlet was at his absolute best on that 2-minute drill. And we'll see if he can pull off some of that 95 magic in 96. Back to throw on first down. Hamlet. There's the pass to Batts. He's got it at the 45 and no, he doesn't get out of bounds. Thought he did at the 47-yard line, and William & Mary couldn't get out of bounds. 1:51 to play, but they'll stop the clock because it's a first down. They have to move the chains. No, it's not a first down. Yes, it is. All right. They didn't change the marker on our side of the field. Now they do, and now they start the clock again. 1:48 to play. Leo has thrown for more than 200 yards today with one score to show for it. Back to throw Hamlet again. Here comes the blitz. Leo gets rid of the ball. There's Conti down the field, overthrows him, and Batts wide open down the left-hand sideline. Nobody within 25 yards of him.
I don't know whether Leo even saw him down there, but he should have known that he was going to be there, because that's the pattern that Batts will run when Conti's running the post pattern.
That stops the clock with 1:34 to play. Second down 10 at the William & Mary 47. They've at least like to get it in range for Sean Leach to try a field goal. He's only had one kickoff, or two kickoffs, and an extra point. There's a pass over the middle. The bat's through his hands. It was behind him. He had to turn around for it, and he couldn't hang on. And that pass was difficult to catch because he turned him almost all the way around. So it's 3rd and 10, and Delaware, with 1:30 to play, all tied with William & Mary. We're facing our first overtime game in quite a while. The last time Delaware played overtime was Villanova a few years back, and they won it. 3rd down and 10, back to throw Hamlet. He's got trouble, gets rid of the ball. What a catch by Courtney Batts at the 35-yard line, high in the air to make the catch for a first down for the Blue Hens.
That was incredible. Incredible. Maybe the biggest 3rd down play of the ball game, and Batts goes up to make a grab like that.
1:22 to play. Delaware's going to call a timeout. And there's a timeout on the field with 1:22. There's a break of the action to United Water. Water break with a score. Delaware 7 and William & Mary 7.
Any kind of a chance. He's already hit in his career a 50-yarder.
But has not really kicked all that well this year.
No, he hasn't. No, he
First
hasn't.
and 10 at the 35. McGraw in motion. Here is a counter. Goes to Coleman. He's down to the 32-yard line. And that one kind of took a while opening up for Delaware, and then it closed pretty quickly. Clock running, 1:10 to play. On the tackle, Jude Waddy. He is a fine linebacker for this football team. Kind of surprised they decided to go with a running play there. 2nd down and 7 at the 32-yard line. And Hamlet now goes back to throw. Sideline pattern. There's Batts. He goes out of bounds with the ball at the 19-yard line. First down, Delaware.
Absolutely great position now for Delaware to win this football game. They're within Leach's range, but they still have plenty of time to continue moving the ball and get it into the end zone. 51 seconds.
51 seconds, and the clock is stopped. The ball just inside the 20. They'll call it officially, I would guess, the 19. The nose close to the 19-yard line. Conti wide right to the short side of the field. It's Batts. Hamlet over center. It's a first down play. 1st and 10. And Hamlet's going to hand it to Andre Thompson. Gets a couple. They try to strip the ball. He hangs on down to the 18-yard line. Clock running, 44 seconds remaining in this football game, down to 40.
Delaware's got at least 2 timeouts. We don't know right offhand whether they have taken any in this half or not, Don. I don't think they did.
18-yard line, that's a gain of about 1.5 yards. Conti wide right. Batts wide left. Hamlet over center. 2nd down. In motion is McGraw. Here's a handoff to Thompson again. He doesn't go anywhere. He's brought down to the 18. Tackle made by McGowan. 15 seconds. Delaware's going to set it up for the field goal. They tried to move the ball into the middle of the field. They didn't get it very well, and now Delaware's going to call a timeout with 11 seconds to play. Now, Bill, they're either going to throw the football here, or they're going to bring on Sean Leach on a 3rd down play and try to kick the field goal. But I don't see any movement in that direction.
Although the coaches have said, Tubby in particular, that he thinks Leach has come out of that slump that he was in earlier, and looks like they're going to go for it.
They're going to go
for it. Yep. There he comes.
Well, you take no chances of botching the 3rd down play, I guess, and Leach will come on with the burden on him. Now, there is less of a burden in that it's a tie game. He's not going for the kick that would tie. This one will be to win the game. The ball will be at the 25-yard line. It's a 35-yard attempt. Left hash mark. Sean Leach out of the hold of Brian Ginn. There's the snap. Kick is up. The kick is going to be short. It's no good. 5 seconds off the clock. We have 6 seconds remaining, and it's still tied at 7. Let's give you an update on the Concord Pets College football scoreboard. Northeastern leading JMU 31-7. We don't know if that's a final or not. Marshall leading the Citadel 35-17. So Sean Leach got not much in the way of foot into that one, Bill.
No, and wind was not a factor. That certainly was well within his range, but I don't know. He just, well, it's hard to explain. You'd have to talk to Leach and ask him why not, because he does have the foot, but not that time.
William & Mary going for overtime as Cook takes the ball and kneels down with it, and that brings us to the end of regulation. We go into our first overtime of the year. The end of regulation here at Williamsburg, Virginia. The score, Delaware 7 and William.
Think they'll try a field goal again?
I think they're going to hope that they don't have to. Mr. Shawcross maybe hoping they get another opportunity to do it. All right, Conklin's wide right, Whipple to the left, and Cook is the quarterback. And he hands it off to Alvin Porch. He's got room, 25 down to the 20 to the 19-yard line, gets 6 yards on first down, and that is Brian Smith and Jamie Bell making the tackle. It's a gain of 6 on first down, second down 4. So the Blue Hens, who had an opportunity to win with 11 seconds to go on defense here in the overtime period. Sun has come out to some degree here in Williamsburg for the first time all game. Hamrick in motion, now comes back the other way. Here's the fullback. Here's the pitch. It goes to Porch to the 20, slips down at the 17-yard line, untouched. But when you slip and go down in college football, you're down. You don't have to be tackled. So he'll come up shy by a couple of yards of the first down. It'll be third down and 3. They're going to spot it at the 18-yard line. Now, big defensive play right here to try to keep William & Mary from the end zone and make them try a field goal. Over center, Mike Cook. Long count. Now he goes back to throw. Stumbles. Now gets ready. He's pulled down from behind by Josh Mastrangelo at the 25-yard line. Mastrangelo with a big sack for the Blue Hens. Lost 7. He came from the backside as Cook was looking into that corner trying to find Whipple, and Mastrangelo ran him down.
Mastrangelo having one of his better games of the season. He's a senior from Carmel, New York. And here he comes from the backside to bring down Cook.
And here's the field goal attempt of 42 yards by Shawcross. Kick is up, and the kick is no good. Oh, it goes over.
Hit the crossbar and went over. It looked like it came forward. The officials indicate that it's good, but that ball hits the crossbar, and we're looking at it. Let's see if we can get another look at it. It looked, Don, as if the ball hit the crossbar and dropped in front.
Absolutely. It's exactly what it looked like to me, but I'd have to see it again. It did not look like it made it to me, but that's a 42-yard field goal by Shawcross.
Here comes the kick. See if we can get a look at it here now as the ball comes down and hits the backside of the crossbar. Where the stanchions hold it up.
10-7. Delaware with the ball at the 25-yard line. Hamlet bootlegging left. He's pulled down at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Second down and 10. Now the Hens with all the pressure on them now because William & Mary has scored in the overtime. Of course, the play clock runs. The game clock, there is no game clock in overtime. They keep scoring or playing until somebody scores more than the other guy. And right now, William & Mary has a 10-7 lead on the 42-yard field goal by Shawcross. Here's the second down play. Hamlet. He's going to go back to throw. He's got protection. Gets rid of the football. Intercepted by Waddy or McGowan, and that's the end of the football game. Mike McGowan intercepts for William & Mary in the overtime period, and the Blue Hens have fallen to the tribe of William & Mary. The final score in overtime, William & Mary 10 and Delaware 7.